with the all-time greats, I mean, he might be. I think it's up for debate, actually. Like, you can't really pinpoint it on one person still, and get right, he might be the greatest to grace the game.
Yeah, and certainly one of the greatest in all of esports history, really pushing the boundaries across many, many titles, right? One of the players that we always talk about in the all-time pantheons of great esports players. So a well-deserved speech there, and certainly a very important moment in Counter-Strike history. That concludes our emo segments. I look forward to our goth segments later, where we just, focus on people's faces as they're losing and like really just staring into the pit of absolute despair.
Those are the only two bad moments in Counter-Strike history. The rest were amazing. So it was all roses.
I wouldn't say they were bad. You have to have those. You have to have those emotional moments. You think Skadoodle winning the major was bad?
Actually, you're right. There was only one bad moment in Counter-Strike history when Get Right retired. Apart from that,
you've been exposed as an NA hater now.
No, not me.
That was one of the worst things when
like
FaZe didn't win.
I support my region.
You support your region. See, I just support great players. And see, the thing about that
I like when there's overlap.
is that Cloud9 won the major.
Yeah.
I would support NA if they actually won things.
Right, yeah. We were very happy to get that major.
Yeah.
We don't know when the next one's coming. Maybe it was sad for that reason.
Things aren't looking too hot in NA Counter-Strike as a whole right now, so we might be a little bit further away. But still, one of the bright spots is that many North American players have gone over to European teams now, watching, Rush on Complexity yesterday. So they're
Twist is really popping off.
Twist is popping off on FaZe.
He's trying. He's carrying that region. That
wow.
Region.
They're killing it. They're killing it.
Yeah. Well, at least Twist is.
Twist is actually killing it. Like, I wasn't lying about that part.
Yeah.
The rest of FaZe is not gonna mention.
Yeah, that was certainly a goth moment. FaZe is really the goth Counter-Strike team, just full of just living in the absolute darkness, the night.
Yeah, like goth people don't talk too much, but they get kind of poetic. I feel like that's how Nico communicates to his teammates, just random poetry, or when he was on FaZe, of course.
Yeah.
Just the occasional
another goth
sonnet
moment for FaZe, Nico leaving.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's enough for our emo moments of Counter-Strike. We are going to take a break, and when we get back, we will be talking about the German matchup of Big versus Sprout. Before we start with our two German teams going head-to-head in our losers bracket today, I do have to say that our hype intro is pretty goth, with the red sky, the lightning, the black rain pouring down on the castle. Very appropriate for the International Goth Day that we're celebrating right now. And we've got this great matchup between these two teams. One potentially on the decline in Big from their performance over the last year, while one maybe on the rise a little bit. Sprout coming in through our closed qualifier here at Flashpoint 3. And even though they had a tough first-round matchup versus Heroic, where they lost expectedly to the tournament favorite, one would say, coming into this event, they then pulled off a remarkable upset in the losers bracket by beating FaZe. So Sprout, a team. Is this team impressing you guys right now, or is FaZe just that bad?
This is a tricky storyline to figure out, because we look at the head-to-head between Sprout and Big, and Sprout have always at the edge, but they haven't never had the same players as they do now. And then the other thing is that, yes, they beat FaZe recently, but FaZe have also touched their lowest point in organization history at number 23 on the ranking. So in some weird way, we rate FaZe and maybe think they're going to be better, but at the moment, they could be at that point where it's not even considered that much of an upset because of how much they've been losing themselves. Watching back that game with FaZe, I definitely could point to a lot of mistakes that they made, and I really didn't feel like Sprout played all that well to pull that upset off. But what also makes this game interesting, on that note, is that Big also are not in peak form at the moment.
Yeah.
So there still is that chance for an upset, I think.
I think what's scary about Sprout in this matchup is that versus FaZe, it felt like they were playing with a freedom that they knew that they really had no expectations in that game, that FaZe were definitely the favorites, that Favin and Sprout came in as the underdogs, and because of that, they could just execute their game plan. They didn't really have to think too much about it because they thought, I mean, if we lose, then we lose. It's fine. And I feel like what's crazy about this matchup is that Sprout are kind of in the same position once again. They are the underdogs, and they know that they can kind of just exercise whatever freedoms they want to individually. This is a domestic matchup after all, and Sprout should be very comfortable playing against the players on Big. So if any individual has a read in the server at any given time, because they know the tendencies of Surson, they know what Keto's going to do next in a situation, that's when Sprout are the scariest, because their individuals are highly skilled.
I think the domestic buff as well, this weird thing that seems to happen, whether it's all these teams in France or teams, you know, Navi versus Russian teams or Vitality versus French team, Double Pony, is just that when you're coming up in the scene, or your team like Sprout versus Big, you're probably learning a lot from that team in your region specifically, a little bit more than other teams. And then there's so much past history that we don't know about, or might not be obvious between the players on Sprout and some of the players on Big as well.
What would it mean for Sprout to take a win here? Because in some ways you would think that many of the players on Sprout, if they want to continue on an all-German roster, their goal should be to head into teams like Big, right? So if Sprout's actually able to pull off the win, does that change the narrative about which German teams are in power and potentially where elite German players would go?
Sprout has kind of weirdly, historically had Big's number. In the last 4 series, Sprout has won 3 out of the 4 times. So all in all, I think that Sprout, they're still, even if they win this, they're kind of just staving off the potential for Big to just poach their players, because that's just what always happens with this roster. In fact, some of the Sprout players have played for Big. Dennis, who's on Sprout right now, the reason he formed this lineup is because he was kicked from Big, so I'm sure he wants to get back on the team. Favin is constantly talked about as the guy that can probably replace Keto. So just looking at some of the players here, I'm sure that they're going to be playing with a ferocity that is almost to secure themselves future paychecks on the Big clan.
The funny part is, yeah, if they win this game, then they can actually, like, increase their chances of getting the transfer.
Yeah, exactly.
They're playing for the transfer.
Well, I would like to believe that Sprout gains ascendancy and then starts taking players from Big.
Okay.
That seems.
They need to evolve their logo then. Okay. It's not about. We love their logo, but there needs to be a Venusaur evolution to the logo. Okay, we can't just stay Sprouts, otherwise we're always going to be underneath. Even somehow we ended up underneath the logo of Big Clan in the back. I don't know if this is a subconscious thing by production, but you know, Big are just above Sprout, and every team is just going to feel like they're above Sprout. Their logo, their team name, they can't be the best. They can't be number 1. They have to evolve.
But here's the thing. We don't know if they're above Sprout right now, because Big, who peaked at number 1 in the HLTV rankings last year, has not been able to maintain that form and has been kind of on a slow slide right now. So Big, they came into this tournament, they beat Complexity, but that seems to be a very favorable matchup for them, that they're consistently winning across many tournaments. And then they lost relatively convincingly to Mouse Sports, another German organization. So for Big, what is their upside here? Because it seems like as teams have made these roster shifts, they didn't make any. They're sticking to the same 5 that they had last year, and that may not be enough in a world where many teams have retooled themselves on the road to the major.
The only thing that has changed for Big over the last year is that they've replaced their coach in Toby, and actually now have Dude in the lineup, and Dude is taking a lot from Toby. When we talked to one of the players from Big after one of their wins, he said that really it seemed like Toby mentored Dude to try to be a great coach, but in this RMR event, the coaches aren't even as valuable. He can't talk during the freeze time, he can't talk during the timeouts anyways, so the system that they have in place is maybe a little stale for Sprout. It would be nice if they were able to inject something new into this roster, but in terms of game plan, it feels like they're still kind of using the same overall strategy, which is not a bad formula by any means. And Big are in actually a really solid form for Flashpoint, because when they were #1 in the world for every tournament, their trade percentages were very high, and coming into Flashpoint 3, they have those high percentages. It's at a 22% trade percentage right now, and that is around the number that they were at when they were peaking in the middle of last year.
The only issue with Big is they're losing a lot of their bigger important games. They are stomping a lot of the tier 2 teams, which means that Spread, I think, are at risk, but they have lost some of their more important matches, and that's clouded by the fact that they beat Complexity, but as Maui mentioned, they beat Complexity a lot. So it's hard to say if they feel like they're in very good form and how comfortable they feel, even though Sprout are a tier below them.
Yeah, that's fair enough. We are going to take a quick look at one of the maps, Train, as Alan is going to do some analysis for us, and then we will get into the veto and see if Train is indeed going to be on the menu today. It has been a rarity in Flashpoint so far.
Our prospect Krezi played a great series versus FaZe to save Sprouts from elimination in their last game at Flashpoint. And let's jump into a great round from Krezi over on the CT side of Train. So as we can see on this round, the FaZe Clan players are grouped up outside of main, and they want to explode out onto this A-bomb site with smokes onto a sandwich and E-box. Now in defense, Sprouts have 4 players, they're putting down all their utility, and Dennis finds a great opening kill to make it a 5-on-4. Now from here, the player we need to focus on is Krezi, because he's going to get aggressive through this sandwich smoke, and jumping on board on his flash, he pushes through, gets super aggressive, and sprays down 3 FaZe Clan players, pivoting on a dime to make it 4 as Krezi destroys the FaZe Clan squad and showcases his immense individual ability. So what do you make of that one, guys? Will we see more of Killer Krezi moving forwards? Over to you guys on the desk.
Has Krezi impressed you guys as part of this roster so far for Sprout?
Absolutely. I don't think there was a flash in the pan round. He definitely looked really, really solid overall. Favin is as the guy we talk about and is the the #1 prospect on the roster. But I thought Krezi was very good.
All right, well, let's get into our vetoes right away. Overpass will be the first ban coming in from Sprout.
Yeah, that's their perma veto, and Big, they look to... they've been vetoing out Inferno a lot lately. It's been a problem map for them. Yeah, so I think that should be coming out here. And then Sprout, they might feel pretty confident on Train. They just beat FaZe on it, but lately they've been picking Dust 2 a lot, but they will go with Train, and that is that's kind of showing their development actually in this tournament, because I mean the last month or two they've been picking nothing but Dust 2. So cool pick, and hopefully we get to see more of what Alan showed us there.
They also leave Dust 2 open because Big could just pick it for them, because there's no real clear punch pick for either team right now, but Dust 2 is a very high play rate for both of these teams, so there's a chance that Big just go ahead and grab it. Yeah, they'll take that, and yeah, Train makes a lot of sense. It's not a like super good map for Big at the moment, and they had a big win versus FaZe, obviously.
These first 2 maps seem pretty good for Sprout overall, given their preferences, so this is looking potentially like it has more of a chance of being an upset.
Yeah, this is shaping up as such. So Decider, I think both of these teams kind of thought that there might be a Mirage within the first 2 picks. I'd be curious to see if there was any other direction that these teams wanted to go in. So if we get the second bans out of the way, Sprout doesn't actually want to play Mirage, and I think that's actually even shaping this up more to be a Sprout favored veto, because Big is usually the one that wants to pick Mirage there. It goes down to Vertigo, so we'll see if it even gets there. But right now,
That's
through and through, this is looking nice for Sprout in the first two
It's
maps.
actually really cool then that they pick Train, because then it creates a situation where Mirage is even less likely if they don't, you know, pick into Dust 2 for Big and then Big pick Mirage, for example. So I think Sprout actually did a really great job in this veto.
I would agree. I think that also Favin has particularly been kind of weak on Mirage. He's the A anchor for them, and so they're not even going to have to worry about that. That's been a problem spot for him.
All right, well, taking a look at our odds provided to us by our partner Unicorn, 1.5 to 2.4. So Sprout coming in as the underdog, though by not as much as many may have expected. This is a little bit closer than I would have thought.
Again, there's this weird past history where Sprout usually win, but the other weird part is that they've had insane talents at their disposal. They had Deha, they've had Degster in their previous matches randomly. So now they've kind of got the worst version of those lineups in terms of just pure talent individually. But again, still lots of history and lots of knowledge about how Big play.
Yeah.
And remember, you can go to unicorn.com, and if you put in 20 euros, you will get that 4x bonus to start with 100. Go ahead, sign up, use the code Flashpoint, and have some fun for the rest of the RMR. We are going to go into our predictions, which I am currently losing by about 10 points to Sembler. So I'm desperate to get out of the hole by the end of the day because we will have some punishment. And joining us for International Goth Day, very celebratory, are James Bardolph and Lex.
Which one's which?
They look the same.
We're both feeling pretty goth right now, man.
I don't know what I look like.
Neither do I. It's actually
You look great.
really
You look
uncomfortable.
fantastic.
I just took a photo of myself like 2 minutes ago, barely looked at it, tweeted it.
He looks like he's about to
I
cast Hell in
told
a Cell.
the makeup artists that they could do whatever they want.
They had fun.
You know, put a lot of trust in them.
All right.
Them over in the makeup room. I don't know what I look like. I turn the monitor off. I don't want to.
He's terrified of
I have no
himself.
idea
He's
what I
actually
look like.
scaring himself right
I'm
now.
wearing blue lipstick. That's it. But I put loads of chips on Big for this one, so I'm kind of scared now of
Really?
everything that the analyst desk said.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I feel like Big are, within their country that they should be the top team basically. For me, Big should be winning against Sprout comfortably. They should be. And I think that should be the safer bet today, so I put most of my chips in that direction.
Okay. I actually went with Sprout myself.
Wow. Okay. Why?
I mean, historically, head-to-head, Sprout. I mean, it's inter-German conflict here, man. Like, this could go any way. We saw what Double Pony and Vitality ended up with. These players are very comfortable playing with and against each other, so I think that actually plays into it a lot.
Yeah, a fair prediction. And now we'll come back to our lovely analysts here, the least goth, Maui.
No black shirt for me.
He's promised us he's going to gothify.
Yeah, no.
over
The
the
thing
rest.
is, I'm getting converted as the day goes on.
Yeah,
you'll see. You'll
Okay.
see.
Yeah.
So I went with Big. I feel like the last couple results were kind of fluky for Sprout. The last time they played was with Degster, who's one of the hottest oppers right now in the CIS region, and it was after the player break, and you could tell Big just weren't even in the server. So I went with Big. I think they're here to play today.
Yeah, I took Sprout for this one. The odds were calling to me, and I felt like the matchup makes sense. I feel like there's makings of an upset. I feel like Big's results recently are not as good as they seem.
I mean, Big's results haven't been great, but I am not so bold to predict them to lose to both Mouse and Sprout, two German teams, which would put them right on the bottom of the German team totem pole. I don't think that's going to happen, so I personally took Big here. I believe in them, that they're going to come out and be able to take this match.
Sprout are going to say, when I started out, I was at the bottom of the totem, and now I'm on the top, and everybody on the scrotum.
Beautiful. Well, with that, we're going to get into our games right now, and we do have Goth Lex and Goth Bardolph to join us here and to cast a match in which one team will be sent into the eternal darkness.
It's too early to hear the word scrotum.
Yeah, that was pretty in-your-face scrotum comment there, Launders.
Yeah, I'm disappointed with this. Well, get your Evanescence tapes ready because we're going to be moving into our first game of the series. So there's a fair amount of support for Sprouts here, which I think is an indictment of Big. Considering where they were just a few months ago, I would like to see them more in that direction. A domestic matchup, those can always be quite entertaining, so we'll see if it's going to be a close one. Is there a 2-0 in this for Sprout? We will soon find out. Tizian and Tabson will both have flashbangs, HE grenades, and smokes. So very interested to see what the plan is there. We're seeing more HE grenades in pistol rounds, I'm noticing. Timing is a little off for the HE above the ladder. towards B. There will be a one as well. 2 grenades thrown, 2 apples thrown, if you will, but no poisonous bites taken.
Yeah, the question will be, you know, is Cressy going to be on a long lurk here towards Ivy? Is he going to try and make contact, sell a fake outside? Because all 3 of these players are swinging out of upper right now. First one goes into Tijan. He falls to Favin. And now Searson pressed over at lower ramp. He'll have to fall back as he gets bailed out by Zantares. And, you know, Slacks takes a 1 tap to the face, but Zantares grabs another onto Favin. And now it's a 3-on-4. Sprout on the low end of that. And Zantares is having a hell of a first round here.
Yeah, the bomb was dropped a little earlier on. Sprout needs to try and collect it. Can see Speedy entertaining. Cressy needs a multi-frag here. He is being looked for, though. That was the first one. There's the second one gone as well. Suddenly it's even, but not for long, as Speedy's left alone in one spot. Got to press on, though. Stuck in no man's land, completely exposed. And there will be the pistol round for Big.
Yeah, I mean, the long flank did come in, found 2, but ultimately Sprout falling on the site. It's Centaurs that really just kind of blew up that strat, weren't able to gain the ground, and any space they did create was quickly negated, and Big take the pistol. And, you know, as far as, you know, a train pick goes, I mean, it would be really comfortable, I think, for Sprout to come out, win pistol, maybe grab the first 3. You know, that would really just kind of cement my confidence in this pick for them to actually take this series. But early lead here for Big, and I expect them to, considering this is train, you know, you can absolutely have rounds where Deagles open things up and maybe you can get an eco, but Sprout selecting to mostly full save here.
Habson with some forward control. Limited risk while holding the MP9. Just the FAMASs you don't want getting into the hands of Sprout mainly.
Dennis drawing the attention. Cressy swings. And over here towards Ivy, I mean, this is probably one of the most difficult spots, at least in my opinion, to play on train, and especially on these rounds where you can just have a Deagle holding an angle on you. Oof. Can definitely get painful real quick.
Yeah, one of the most important positions to play on train as well. On CT side. Very important when the bomb plants are coming through, as we will see as this game with train progresses. One of the last times we'll see train for a while. Well, Zantares going in dry. That'll cost him. Sprout being patient now. And again, we spoke about the FAMASs getting into the hands of Sprout. That's exactly what's happened. Oh my god. That is quite a difference maker. Shadow spotted of Speedy, and that will allow him to be taken care of. Well, there are 2 kills for Sprout in that round, which I think is not too shabby. I think Big could have played a tighter game there with the peeks into main late on, but there we go.
Yeah, Tabson had control of team mid really early on in that round, and I guess he had just kind of conceded it. Zantares thinking it's still clear, walks in, gives a free one away to a Glock, but you know, two frags, not the end of the world. You don't really lose any weapons, rebuy some armor, but ultimately Sprout had a low investment round in the previous one, so this will be a full buy, 5 AKs coming after them, and a lot of utility, and so see what they do with it here. A little bit of an early outside pressure. Nades come through, mollies go out. Dennis swings from Top Dog, finds, ooh, the tail end of one on Bomb Train. Doesn't get the frag though. Tabs and Keto all finding frags. And now it's just Favin in a 1v3 as the explosive action comes to a real quick halt.
Doable for Favin. Not anymore. Tizian with a crouch pick. That'll be enough. 3 plays survive for Big.
I'm not really sure what that Sprout strat was supposed to... Sprat? Was it Sprat was supposed to actually look like? Seemed like maybe that it was like the 5-6 train had actually caught part of that smoke that he just tried to bounce off the ground and gave an angle to Keto over here at E-Box to just clean up. And the nade damage was just so impactful for Big, and considering that was a full buy from Sprout, you know, a little bit of a bonus for Big. They're rolling in dough right now. Already getting an op onto Keto.
Oh, that's a nice way to open the proceedings.
Goodbye.
Again, Speedy wants Big to engage him in those narrow channels of train. There's not much correction to be done if your crosshairs at head level. So it's very favorable to just go fishing constantly with the Deagle. Oh, Citizen's going to take things into his own hands, it looks like. Got the aggression here from Tizian as well. Focusing on the right-hand side, but we can see some creep from the left. The timing might be just perfect for Tizian. Citizen having a look there. Got some jump peaks happening as well. Well, Big have lost 2 players, so this is still looking dangerous for them. Zantares has been deagled as well.
Yeah, Big's taking control of Whitehall's right here, but there's a lot of space open outside. Peter's got to shut it down, misses one. In real danger now as there's only one player left for Big, and that's Searson. Low HP as well.
Yeah, we saw Big try to, I think, rotate down the ladder to help, but they couldn't. And this has turned into a disastrous round for them. Not everybody, he's even got Kevlar for Sprout. He's looked a little shaky early on. This was not supposed to be the round, but if you're going to mess up, better happens early than late. Still a chance for Searson. As I say that, he'll eat one in the face. And Sprout win an extremely unlikely round.
Yeah, and I think it really just comes off that opener from Speedy, right? Like, you know, you dropped one outside, and as soon as you get the information that two have pushed up into Whitehall's, just so fully committed up towards that. Pushing through Brown Halls, grabbing that control for bathrooms is great, but that means a very weakened outside maximum. Two players there. Sprout keying on that real quick and just start to take space. And Keto, who I just had mentioned, investing a shit ton of money into that round. You know, full utility with an op. You know, willing to spend that much of a budget just to handle an eco and then just to lose it like that. That's painful. Slacks gets a free one. And now Sprout grabbing their first round. Searson on this ladder with the Zeus. I want to see it.
I like the idea of the Zeus on the upper B ladder.
Yeah.
Because you can really elevate your position. I need to do some experiments with it. Or into the 5-7 maybe. It is a slight blind spot up close. Oh, very strange start for Big, all things considered. Sprout suddenly with all the advantage, but we've seen that Big have gone for quite a hard eco here. Looking to buy in the next round, I would imagine.
I think I can count on one hand the amount of Zeus kills I've ever gotten.
I don't even know how to buy it. I literally don't even know what menu it's in.
That's fair. I'm pretty sure it's equipment. But I don't know the number keys off the top of my head. I don't buy with the scroll wheel, so.
I miss the text menu days.
Me too.
Where I feel oppressed by having the wheel forced on me.
I hate it.
I
want the minimal.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the little text was perfect. It was amazing. Like, why isn't that a thing?
Simple buy menu would be fantastic.
I have requested this.
Yeah.
But I think it's an extremely niche thing. So I guess the argument is, why would we spend development time on this?
You know, it's funny.
Anything else?
In the middle of, like, it was a few years ago, floating equipment above your teammates' heads, you know what I'm talking about, the teammate.
What, like we're seeing on this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had mentioned that on a Flom stream, actually. And within 24 hours, Valve had released the update. So they listen. Just not always when you want to. Simple buy menu win. Look at this run boost. Ooh, Slacks gets the better of Keto, who had no idea that was coming. Beautiful shot, beautiful run boost. Fantastic opener over at Ivy. Again, such a difficult position to play sometimes, and even if you double up on it, there's just no way to trade that frag.
You never see that kill landed.
No.
They're just crossing most of the time. That is not what Big were expecting. They'll have big problems in round number 6. How can they respond to this on the CT side? We've got smokes up around the Ivy area. Sprout still showing some position. That wooden panel at the entrance to A main, by the way, on Old Inferno, they had the same one next to the dark spot, and you could slide up on it and get a peek over the top, but it wasn't very easy to do.
Talking about the pallet?
Yeah.
Oh.
The one that's leaning against the
Yeah.
trash thing. Yeah. Exactly the same one was on Old Inferno. It's 34 seconds. Sprout really playing the slow game here, which has proven popular on Train of late. He's very nervous for the CT. He's not really sure what's happening, but when you see the bomb, you certainly are. Futman's got to pick a right timing for this. See, Xantares has got the flicks. He's got to execute the volley instead and get deleted by Tizian. 17 seconds, and I don't see the bomb plant happening. They've just collected the bomb right now. You can see Tabson on the bomb site itself, and he needs to stay alive now. Just run distraction. He'll do more than that. Headshot onto Slacks, and Spiddy finds himself alone. 2 kills for Sprout, so it seems it will be a long game of Train on this T side. But on this occasion, Big survives the test.
Yeah. And a hero hold from Tabson on Bomb Train. I mean, 13 seconds left on the clock. Finds one of the Slacks, able to convert the second. And considering how well this round started out for Sprout, they got all the map control. Found the opener with a fantastic run boost. That's a tough thing to ask, you know, just 4v4 after that pick. And I guess, you know, kind of like you were saying, there's a really like neurotic feeling as a CT when you have no information around the map. You're down a man. And, you know, you can tell the T's are just waiting out your utility. So you have this inkling, okay, we just hold on to it a little bit longer. But CTs ran out of that real quick. And so I really thought that Sprout was going to be able to exploit that, find the openers. Didn't happen.
Sprout will be back on the buy in round number 7. AWP for Slacks, AKs for the rest. Interested to see if we'll see a Kree later on. There'll be 2 AWPs for Big now, Keto and Searson. Searson's definitely turned into a fan favorite with the AWP. Got grenades to deter an early pick, it seems. But Searson's just run straight through the molly, the smoke rather. In the meantime, we've got a fast airplay towards the A bomb site. Zantares running to his death. 3-on-3 now as Sprout breached the choke points. Got a big rotation coming in, no pun intended. Tizian in connector at present. Flashbangs flying over. Bomb being planted. Tizian trying to stop it. We've got a T swinging around the smoke now, trying to find him. Running out of bullets though, but the last few will eliminate Cressy, making it a 2 versus 3 for Sprout. Trying to hold on to this bomb now. We've got utility flying forward. Slacks playing high risk, high reward. Down to 3 HP now. Farm's got a lot to do. Looking for that second kill. And it gets worse for Sprout. They planted a bomb, but they won't win the round.
Yeah, I like the play call from Sprout, recognizing, okay, we just handed them an op. You know, you're going to be playing against double ops. The slow default doesn't really matter if you can milk the utility out of the CTs because you're just, you know, so exposed at so many angles when you're actually executing the bomb site. So I like to do it, you know, just kind of sprint at the A bomb site, get the bomb plant down quickly. You know, they manage their trades pretty well going in, but ultimately that double op does pay off in the end for Big. They do retain both of them. So 5-2, Sprout still making this competitive, keeping the economy of Big in check. And on Train, I mean, especially when you're kind of relying on, so we got 2 AUGs, we got 2 ops. You know, if you could find a way to reset Big and make them uncomfortable, push them away from being able to just, you know, play this style. I still count this looking like good half for Sprout so far.
Double AKs, triple deagle for Sprout. Looking to stunt the growth of Big on their CT side. Now, Big have had a few examples, a few engagements with which to learn from with these Desert Eagles, the angles, the plays around main and such. Big currently with 2 players around the Ivy area. And the Lurker Cressy will start to move away from Ivy, perhaps to collect the bomb. I do wonder if it'll be a play towards B. You can see Dennis holding an angle for now.
Yeah, they haven't tested B quite yet. And I mean, look at the difference in Big. They're playing so respectful now. They understand they've got 4 scoped weapons, play the range. The execute comes in at inner.
Dennis pressing forward, trying to control connector and limit the rotation. There'll be a flashbang for the CTs to swing. Dennis tries to avoid it, but he can't. Great utility support play there. And the push comes through from Big. Sprout limited in their options now. 2 players remaining looking for damage. The bomb plant looking extremely unlikely. Keto starting to warm up. Some target practice for him as Big finds 6.
What a flash from Tizian to kind of like really just stop that sidewalk push. Dennis just full blind, had no chance. That's a convincing round win from Big. You know, it wasn't exactly a full buy at all from Sprout, only had 2 AKs, but full buy will come out. And they found some success, you know, at different paces, I guess, at outside. But I wonder whether or not, you know, Sprout maybe lean towards Ivy or try and test inner again with full kits. But double op still in play for Big, 6-2.
You see Spidius looking for a potential fast one in. Flashbangs were there, the chain flashes, but on this occasion does not pull the trigger. Big have been very aggressive around the B bomb site. We saw it very early on in this half. We previously, again, we can see that T smoke on the radar towards upper B, trying to thwart any AWP picks. Big had a 2-man push on the previous round, where they just ignored that and went straight through it. Again, a support flashbang, and Tizian will land a headshot onto Farvan. And you'll see that there is a lack of presence there. Beyond that one player, Dennis is creeping around though, but there's no alarm to be raised by Big. No fast push into the B bomb site. You see Slacks and Prezi lurking by Ivy, waiting for these CT smokes to go, and I think Big will be playing it from the inside of the site. We can see Sis and holding angles towards Ivy with the AWP from the bomb train itself. And again, time starts to go low. Sprout light on utility at this point. Big lining up for a late pop flash. Slacks is going to meet it. Doesn't fire a shot though. But they know there is presence here. The smoke comes out. 29 seconds. Another pop flash. Not the result they were looking for. There's a chance to Sprout now, but so much has to go their way with such little time on the clock. And Keto from Sandwich pops out. Dennis Prezi falls as well. And Spiddy's left alone. 1v3 with the bomb. Trying to breach a choke point. On this occasion, the answer is no. And Big move to 7.
Yeah, and this really just starts off the first frag over at Brown Halls. You know, Big's able to lean that rotator back towards outside. And that's just an extra set of utility in place at the right time to delay Sprout from getting any kind of map control. You know, you're delayed over at E-Box at Ivy. And so any kind of outside push is just going to be broken up. You know, you're going to have disjointed pushes at different times. And right there, I mean, maybe if you get that kill over at Sandwich, you know, you enable your T-Con player to get out, get some space, maybe even clear E-Box.
Nice.
Huge frag grenade damage coming in early on.
Yeah, we see it attempted by Sprout as well in the middle of that bomb train. We can see some boost there for a sniper sometimes, but not just yet. Oh, Dennis. Unfortunately, he's so blind. Keto with the crouch, barely surviving. That could have been interesting. Sprout looking to have some impact in terms of damage here. The AWP so close, but Xantara's going to protect it. Look at the robot aim. Running out of bullets, running out of time. Farven has to be forced onto the reload as well, otherwise that might have been a third kill. Some spicy rounds, but Big maybe growing with confidence and momentum now.
Not just that, but they have an economy that is just booming. They've got money to buy for rounds and after rounds, and so it's 8-2, and I'm kind of worried about Sprout. They found a little bit of success just by these standard outside pushes quickly. You know, you maybe are able to get a bomb plant once or twice in the half, but beyond that, like, this has been a big show start to finish, and so I think double op's really paying off for them. And for Sprout, I don't even know, you know, if the executes aren't working, if you can't actually isolate those angles well enough, James, you know, it's tough to say what you could be doing better here.
Yeah. Let's not forget, one of the 2 rounds that Sprout won was an eco round, which then put Big into an eco. So those are the rounds they have so far, which are not promising. We haven't really seen any success in any replicable fashion. But maybe this is the round number 11. They can still get a good score from this half Sprout. Now would be a great time to change their fortunes. The 2 AWPs persist for Big. And again, Searson through that T-smoke that they keep throwing. They know what Searson would like to do, but he is undeterred, it seems. He has a lot of information towards B as well, but we can see there's a proactive push-up Ivy from Sprout, being held by Keto from the middle of the bomb train, but he is moving over elsewhere now, just as Sprout is starting to emerge, and Tabson has to hold that down. You can see Keto, that allows him to move back into position. If Tabson loses that duel, then Ivy's completely open, eats the flashbang, and loses his angle now. And that's going to be an issue, or is it? We can see a creep from Tizian. As long as they keep good angles on the bomb sites itself, then Tizian can certainly help. Keto, is he going to walk into the angle? Oh, he's actually got a superior one. Oh, straight in the face, through the box. Gets tagged first, but he has, again, the headshot certainly helping there.
Okay.
Those stereo frags from Sprout. Now we're in a 3v3. That's a lot of information for Big, though. Searson still creeping, some jiggling from Farven. Surely he starts to look down. This is surely a free one for Searson. Indeed, it will be. Bomb now towards Ivy. Potential chance to rotate towards B. Oh, maybe not anymore. Down goes Dennis, down goes the bomb. And again, it becomes a question of damage for Cressy. 24 seconds. No one is connected. There is a chance to plant the bomb. A long spray on Tabson. 10 bullets left in the magazine. 18 seconds. He's really got to pick up that bomb. That is the key. Big notes down, and Keto has the angle for the cross.
Yeah, and Big dominating this Brown Hall area is just causing so many problems for Sprout. The rotations are all just static. I mean, they don't need to move at all. They know exactly where Sprout is. And, you know, really at the start of that round, Speedy just caught on a weapon switch, a really heartbreaking duel lost, and that's a coin flip right there between Keto and Slacks. Keto ends up winning it out through the box, but, you know, 3v3 ensues right after that. Really looking like a few different rounds here in this half. Sprout probably should have been able to close out. Maybe that's one of them. But a fast outside peek from T-Con doesn't actually yield anything. Maybe he's going to pursue that a bit further. Does not.
Oh my days. Okay, different approach from Tizian, but the fast peak, the swing with the Desert Eagle proving successful. High ground grenade still not hitting the mark, and Dennis is trying to show presence, trying to pull rotation. We can see the bomb has intentions towards A. Oh, this is another one. It looks like, at this point, I'm calling a round win for Sprout.
Oh, man.
Looking for the multi-frag now. He's got information on one. You could actually stand next to him. You could just follow him and look towards connector with the elevation. Sisson's got no idea, though. Oh, in a reload as well. Dennis gets there eventually, and we can see now Xantara is starting to wander. And Dennis just waiting, has allowed the rotation. The bomb's being planted on the B bomb site now. There's a jump peek from Xantares again, but he can't bait the shot, but he is baiting in a different way because it's Kito's turn now. Oh, he's gone for the no-scope while he was throwing a grenade, but he will get it on the second attempt. They've got 4 more players to find big. They could lose it all in this round. I think the odds are probably in Sprout's favor because of the angle and the bomb being planted. Taps him down to 63 HP. Speedy not making a play just yet. Pops out for a headshot. And I think it's safe territory for big. Xantares, though, will run to his doom, proving to be a very expensive round. All the rounds Sprouts have won have just been screw-ups by big, if you will. Well, to some degree screw-ups, but sometimes you get one deeked as well. Kito tried to hold on to the AWP, but the flash comes a little bit too late.
Yeah, no, this is the first time that I've seen Sprout. I mean, it comes off of a 1 deek from Dennis that really probably shouldn't have happened. Maybe an overextension from big at upper. But regardless, I mean, you finally get that frag, and it's like, oh, well, you know, big has so much confidence that we're not going to be pressuring inner throughout the round. We're going to be passively holding Brown Hall. He's here, so let me just go ahead and risk my life maybe, but try and get as deep as I can up towards oil and inner. Dennis finding that second frag really just cemented things for Sprout.
Yeah, I think screw up is a bit too much to say. Maybe in the first round that Sprout won, but wide swing and a deagle, that's Counter-Strike. Slacks finds himself in the ladder room early. We see some shortcomings for big now. It's Tizian's turn to find effect with Desert Eagle. Some sound cues for Slacks. Sees the trajectory as well, but Kito is lurking with an AWP of his own.
I just realized that Tizian is on a deagle. I knew their money was going to be a little bit limited in this round, but the double op's a little bit more important for them, at least perceived on the side of big. Kito has the opener onto Slacks, and that is, you know, not the first, well, I guess maybe the first op pick, but
that could be collected later, or we could see a 3 AWP round for big if Tizian goes to collect. He's on the B bomb side, they're pretty committed, so that looks unlikely. And there are T's heading in his direction while we're seeing presence over here. But what would the play be? The bomb's towards Ivy, so if they're going to try and make an entry towards B, then things are going to get very weird. So far, not so good. Angle lost by Sisson, but he forces his way back in. Cressy now curling his way into connector, but Kito has the angle. Hasn't quite seen the barrel of the gun, though. And where does the bomb go? Rotated away from the Ivy position. It's making its way in towards main now. CHE grenade, Cressy on the high ground. That's going to be really crucial. Sisson rotating, maybe towards the ladder room. Oh, he sees a foot down 7 HP, and he just about escaped Speedy. 21 HP between the two players. Cressy's position is key. Kito's very limited in where he can go. He will rely on Sisson. Sisson knows that there has been a leg, so he pulls the pistol out. Do they know that they're both low?
I think he knows exactly where he is. He saw where the bomb was planted at least.
Oh, my days. Well then, down to the 1v1. It's Speedy that remains. Kito does not have a defuse kit, though. He really has to find them fast. Oh. He actually hits him down to 2. I think he had 7, didn't he? That's
so
brutal.
Close.
I'm not sure if he would have had time to defuse the bomb afterwards, but we'll never know now.
That's so close. And Kito, I mean, 20-9 right now. This man's letting up the scoreboard, and that's not the first time that we've seen Slacks get picked as the opener. I thought it maybe was the first, but that's, you know, the second or third time that I've seen Kito specifically finding the op duel on Slacks and getting the better of him. Considering that's the way that round started, a 5v4. But Cressy just playing like a rat towards Ivy has just found an opening so many times against Big. I'm sure they've identified that problem as they're pushing it now, but Tizian already feeling the pressure over here at inner. Tabson's here to help him out.
Even though the rounds Sprout have won have been a struggle, they've done just enough to get 6 rounds in this half, which is fantastic. Doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you do it. Not sure if there's anything left in this half a big with the buy they have and the distinct lack of money.
Yeah, this Ivy battle from Cressy is being consistently won by Sprout, just hasn't always produced the best results. Faven over here above Pop Dog, just anxiously awaiting the so patient from Zentares, but I'm nervous for them both. It seems like Sprout's just kind of patiently waiting this round out. Maybe it looked like they, with that Brown Hall control, would go towards inner, but ladder control ensuing.
Now you throw the HEs.
Do they, though?
Instead, he's a goner.
There it is.
Well, he's also still a goner, so that's pretty good. 35 seconds left as Sprout look to split the A bomb site. Don't want to run the clock down too much. Although they have 5 players alive, so there's plenty of trade fragging potential and area control. Spiddy fishing on the B bomb site, and they'll see there's only 1 player on A. So there are 4 versus 1 on the A bomb site, but as we can see, tabseN has slipped away. Looking to hold on to the scout for the last round, which is interesting. I thought maybe they would try and do something with the low time on the clock there. There's always a chance to cause some anarchy, but they'll prioritize the weaponry for the last round. Tizian collecting an AK-47 now. There goes tabseN. He still had Ivy control to some degree while that bomb was being planted. Well, he had Ivy presence. I'm sure there was an angle being held by a Sprout player, but Sprout will indeed move to 5.
Yeah, Tizian wise to try and hold on to this AK that was so graciously donated by Speedy, but like you said, potentially for Sprout getting 9-6 on this half, that's very comfortable. And for Big, this was looking so good. They had so much money built up, but it's so expensive, of course, to keep double up in play if you're not picking one up every round. So grabbing their 5th is Sprout, securing what I believe will be a pretty firm economic advantage in this round, as we're just going to see Deagles, a Scout, a Famas. And the 1 AK saved by Tizian, of course, that may come into play, at least towards inner. See whether or not he tries to get aggressive with it, maybe try and find an early advantage for Big, but an early fast play coming outside from Sprout again.
Nice, feeling confident now. They know that the other team are weak, but Dennis needs some backup here. He's on an island at the moment. Faven is on the way to help him. We can see the swing from the CTs, and Faven's in the right place at the right time. Zentares looking for 2. Maybe 1 will be enough. Big Clan 2 versus 3. Scout collected by Keto now. And just like that, Sprout make it to 6. A difficult T side, but he still get a pretty damn good score, I think it's fair to say. We'll see who takes the lead in the second pistol rather, after the break. 9 rounds for Big, 6 rounds for Sprout. Now, if you are expecting Sprout to come out victorious on Train, then I think 6 rounds on the T sides may be a point of confidence. We can see in the Unicorn odds that they are still a considerable underdog. I think those odds may be very generous for this map. A lot can be done with 6 rounds on the board. How are you feeling about the current situation?
I'm feeling good, but something that is worrying me is Slacks has lost this AWP battle so many times in the first half. You know, seeing Keto as confident as he was, he might not actually be AWPing at all on this T side, but I think for Sprout, something that was going well for them against FaZe the other day was confident play from Slacks on the CT side, so we'll see it here in this half. But an interplay coming into the pistol here from Big. First frag for Xantares on a Speedy. Grabs another one.
That last shot of the magazine is absolutely crucial, and Big are utterly deleted by the Glocks. Even with the worst range, you land that headshot and you really do change the situation. PDQ pretty damn quickly. Xantares was in full turret mode then. My God, that last bullet of the magazine was used very well indeed. That was an extremely quick push into the B bomb site. That means that Big win both pistol rounds. They won a consecutive rounds on their first half. We'll see if they can do the same here. We see that there is a big force buy from. You know what? Every time I commentate Big, I just can't use the word big.
Yeah, it's a real
But it's just not in my mind to be like, well, a large force buy just doesn't sound the same. Anyway, we've got 2 scouts and a number of Desert Eagles from Sprout. We could take one of those scouts away though, because Slacks has been annihilated, but Cressy is here. Tizian elevating his position. Got to be careful creeping around the smoke because it may be a bad angle for him. Oh, Cressy, what are you doing? Looking for an ace. He's almost there, running out of bullets. But maybe he's done enough.
Oh my
It's
God.
absolute carnage. It's anarchy on the A bomb site. There'll be no consecutive round for Big.
I'm going to do it. Big round there from Sprout. No, seriously, that was insane. I mean, Xantares swinging out of T-Con, so confident towards E-Box. Left side bomb train, smoke is in place. And you see him get that first headshot, and it just seems like he's about to go farm every eco, but Cressy on bomb train just locking it down, man. Snap of the wrist finds that second 1D, and that was sexy. Hopefully we get a replay at some point of that, but 10-7, Sprout immediately eco Big. Call it an eco, I guess was a force buy, but
Hey, Cheese upstairs will continue.
I haven't seen any of those yield a single point of damage yet.
No, not yet.
Big was sending him up there through the whole half. And on the other side of the map towards Ivy, Favin just gets a face full of 50 cal.
And if you're lining up a smoke from above the ladder towards Ivy, for example, you've got to eat that grenade. And it's Sprout's turn to be proactive and creep into A main. Now, you don't normally see the CTs go beyond that position. But again, well, let's see where these big plays are headed. They've got 1 minute on the clock. Sprout have established that main is open. However, they still have only Speedy towards the B bomb site. So I don't think they've got complete information just yet. We can see Tizian hiding in the smoke, but have a look at that angle. Oh, God. Caught with a grenade in his hand. A little late there, Snacks. A little greedy, but not punished on this occasion. And it's not slapped in the cookie jar, but Cressy certainly is. Keto not going to outstay his welcome there. Not assuming that this is all clear. Can see him posting up now. We'll see if then starts to... Has he seen him? I'm not sure. It's hard to tell with the X-ray, but there will be a grenade. And now what? False sense of security, maybe waiting for the distraction. Does he emerge through the smoke? He does. Perfect from Keto.
Wow.
Big annihilate Sprout. Just waiting for that distraction. Oh, look at this little ball rolling past. Boom. Punishment.
Really impressive mid-game from Big. I mean, just the timing perfectly. You don't have much to work with. I think they had 1 smoke grenade. A lot of Deagles just kind of finding their mark. But this wasn't just raw aim. That wasn't just fragging power coming out from Big. I mean, it was just really well-timed pushes. I thought maybe it was premature for Tizian to take the duel towards Ivy against Slacks. You know, Slacks shuts him down, finds the first kill. It's like, okay, you're comfortable now if you're Sprout, and that actually was their downfall. So a fast outside play from Big. Xantares already threw Olaf to sandwich. He gets challenged immediately by Cressy, who was so scary on the previous buy round from Deagles on the side of Sprout. But answering back is Tabson with 3.
That's how you use a Galil. I don't want to hear no excuses. The Galil's bad. No, you're bad.
Nice, slow, controlled bursts, y'all.
You like Tabson. Favin still creeping with the scout. Looking for a headshot. Maybe a tag will be enough. 2 players alone. Spitty creeping with a Desert Eagle. So we've seen early in both team CT sides being aggressive in main versus a mixed bag of weaponry from the T team has caused problems for both. Maybe more so for Sprout.
Yeah, I mean, Big got punished, I think, twice kind of early on, once on a force buy and once on a buy round for playing, you know, maybe gambling a bit in TCon, just making sure that they secure some map control. I understand the desire to do that, but of course, we've seen how dangerous those deagles can be, especially at close range. When you get punished like that, you know, you don't really have anything to fall back on outside, so you just give, you know, 1 or 2 trains worth towards the E-box, amount of space to the Ts without any backup, and Big capitalizes on it there.
It's a random collection of stickers on the Blood in the Water. I think there's a Spitty sticker and a Tyloo sticker. You know, there's color clashes there. There's unlikely to be connection between the two, you know.
Blood in the Water is such a nice skin, too. Why would you want to tarnish it with stickers? Ugh.
I have an MLG sticker on mine, which I think is appropriate for the no-scopes,
okay.
right? And it's nice and blue. I've got the foil on there. Moves nice with the lights. Blood in the Water, one of the best skins in the game. I'm a big fan of sharks, as most people know. Love me some sharks.
Me too. Shark facts.
Been bull shark diving in Fiji. Reef shark diving in Bahamas. I have not seen a tiger shark yet, and I would love to see the hammerhead. Those are 2 things I would like to see in the future, but what Big don't want to see is any of this shark scout that's in the hands of Slacks now.
I'm just thinking about Jaws.
Oh, that's one way to kick things off. There's Zeus, but the weapon will be protected. Got to be careful with the lineups here. There's a traffic jam coming out of the Pop Dog, and Slacks is looking to be the traffic cop. Well, he'll slow them down a tad, but I think Favin's best opportunity to come on and gone very quickly. He'll be shift walking away. Maybe he'll try to collect something from somewhere else.
Blood in the Water not finding, well, I mean, you got a couple tags there, but not the difference maker in this round.
Yeah. This pistol is weirdly expensive. I think it's kind of rare.
I'm not crazy about it.
It's yeah, if I'm thinking of the right one, I think this one's like a lot more expensive than most others, but Favin might be a bit of a collector. His knife is about $6,000.
Hot damn.
Yeah. Big purple M9 is not a cheap weapon.
I'm actually in the market for a knife upgrade these days.
So what are you rocking?
I got a classic blue steel.
Oh.
Matches my blue gloves. You know, it's not a bad look. Oh my God, look at that thing.
Yeah, that's at least $6,000. At least. It is a very spicy little blade he's got there. But he'll have to have some heavy output as well to justify this stuff.
I don't know if Dennis even saw it.
Ooh! Well, we did wonder if a Krieg would be out, and it was out for a very brief time indeed. 100% armor penetration. Absolutely melts, but not on this occasion. Big still has control, though, of the ladder position. System is creeping with the AWP. So it's a great start for Sprout. Dennis and Favin are low, but they're alive. Things will start to slow down.
Yeah, Big just going to have to wait out a lot of this utility to even make a move towards Ivy. A couple of smokes and a Molotov left on the CT side of Sprout. Back 6 smoke comes out. From this back green position over towards Hell, Cressy's just going to have to sit and wait, bide his time. The rest of his team rolls passive, and the outside push comes out. First frag from Xantares on Dennis. Starts things out for Big, but things up 3-on-3. Keto finds 2, and now it's just Cressy at a 1v3 from back 6, finding 1. Will not find another. Xantares grabbing that round for Big.
That is an effort from Keto. Very nice effort. And indeed, Big are looking, I mean, for me, Big are looking like a stronger team right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think when their plan A doesn't go the way they want, when they're put in a disadvantageous situation, they feel, it looks like they're more inclined to force their way back out of it with individual performance, as we see from Keto here.
Yeah, and for Sprout, I mean, you found the opener over towards Pop Dog. That probably should not have happened. You know, Dennis maybe getting a little bit fortunate in his fight. But then, you know, just the way that things panned out, you got low HPs. It's understandable that you want to go fall back, play more passive. But if you're not able to establish a crossfire and actually put some pressure on the players that are coming out of Pop Dog towards Z-Box and out of T-Con towards Olaf. You know, Big are just able to roam free, kind of take any gunfight they want against you. And, you know, like you said, seems as though the individuals on Big are out shooting the Sprout side right now.
I don't think that molly went as deep as it was supposed to, but the HE will certainly... Oh, could have done a little more damage than that, but everyone's alive. This is the expected angle for a CT. This is where they generally stand. Xantaro is doing a great job of checking everything else, slowly but surely, and now they can split the A bomb site. Hydroponic Tizian moving through like a sentry, and not sure what else there is for Sprout to do here. It is a long road back on train for Sprout, and the wheels are not turning. Oh, there's something to be collected. Slack says to be careful, and it has to be quick. Picks up the AK-47. Xantaro's will be deleted as well. Potentially a second one then for Farvin.
Yeah, 3 HP though. He's got to skate on out of there. Try and save that if you can.
Yeah, Tabson knows this weapon needs to be protected. Now Big have a lot of game points going in their favor. Searson will lose the AWP. That's a huge pickup.
Yeah.
And that's always a dangerous thing, something you got to think about. If you're hunting like anti-ecoing players with an AWP, you have to have some support, because worst case scenario, this is what happens. When Simple was very early on in his career, he would sometimes chase ecoing players with an AWP.
Never a good idea.
I think it was a Dren who was following him, just trying to, because he knows like, oh no, this is not the most sensible play. Trying to protect it many, many moons ago. So Sprout, that really helps them. The AWP in their buy. 2 AWPs, 2 AUGs, and the M4. We'll see if there's anything left in the tank.
Yeah, if there's a world in which Sprout's able to come back into this game, we're going to cite that exact save of the AWP as potentially being the difference maker. Favin demonstrating so very quickly in this round. Searson falls. It's 15-7. Big is already poised to take this map.
I feel like Searson was a little slow on the trigger there.
I'm not sure if he actually had a target acquired when he actually died, but it certainly seemed like from the X-ray.
Yeah.
Probably had it. Maybe not.
Oh, that's chunks I'm talking about. Oh, but that's even more chunks. And that means that Tabson is dead. 3 versus 5 for Big. We spoke about him turning things around when the plan A's gone the wrong way. It's a lurk smoke. And the response. You know, at least one player is above the B bomb site, but Sprout will be reasonably comfortable with all their players alive. Spinny spots the creep, and things go from good to great for Sprout. Will there be some spray into the smoke? Dissipating. Tizian trying to hold rotation. I think he's got to go for some kills here. Kito's got 11k. He's got a lot more than the rest of his teammates, but...
Yeah, Sprout comeback may kind of seem like it's a little bit of a pipe dream, but if you're able to keep 4 alive here, keep both AWPs in play, certainly it's not out of the question.
I wanted to see Tizian jump off to try and plant the bomb because he had 10 HP and he would have died. So that just would have been a fun way.
Man.
Yeah, would have been a fun way to end the round. Let's see how they spread the wealth then on the Big side. You'll see it in a second. It used to be in the meta, the molly and double HEs in the ladder room, and it hasn't been for a very long time. I have always spammed it when I've been commentating train, and somebody, I forget what team it was, they actually did it.
Indulged you personally. There's another op pick to start things out. Searson 0 for 2 in the last 2, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's big, James. Sorry.
Well, now with train going out, we won't see those shenanigans for a while at least. So this map was made by a team, an external team. I think they were called Pop Dog Studios, or something along those lines. And I think that Pop Dog logo, I think, is their company logo. Some trivia for you. There is a wiki for Counter-Strike and the maps and so on.
This is always my favorite. Both players, you can't hear the comms, but you know they're debating in their comms about what nades they're throwing and where they need to line up for it. See where it pans out.
Oh, beautiful! Thank you very much.
You get both nades, but that second one only does 2 HP worth of damage. Almost.
That's telepathy right there. That's telepathy, man.
You spoke it into existence.
I take responsibility for that play. That was all me. 38 seconds remained for Big in another 4 versus 5 situation. That's a meaty flashbang to thwart the lurk from Tizian, but he's still here. 29 seconds now. There's not much information towards B, and Sprouts are wondering. They're playing very passively with the smokes up towards the IV position. But here come the entries from Big. 3-on-3 as the rotation was being held for a time, but Spiddy's made his way out. They've got to take control of this bomb site to plant the bomb, and it's going from, well, it's going really well for Big at the moment. Double AWP retake, smokes dissipating. That's a fast one from Favin. Switches out for the AK-47. Maybe not expecting him to peek him now. Expecting AWP there. The timing is perfect for Tabson. Favin coming in from IV, and there it is. 16-8 for Big. They have a very strong game on Train versus Sprout.
Wow. What a performance from Keto. And right there in that last round, Zentara is just finding these head-level fights 3 in a row, finding one-taps on all of them. And Big with a decisive map 1 victory on Sprout's map pick of Train.
Yeah, they start strong in the domestic. It'll be the thoughts of the desk after the break, and then more carnage between Sprouts and Big.
Well, Big will start this match by spraying some herbicide all over their German compatriots of Sprouts. Really, they should have been GMO plants that were Roundup ready. Just waiting for that Monsanto sponsorship here at Flashpoint. maybe Sprouts should get a Monsanto sponsorship. But really nothing seemed to be working right here for Sprout. Now, they picked Train. We've talked about how Train may not be the most practiced map for a lot of teams because teams know it's going to get phased out in favor of Ancient. And Sprout here, you guys thought they looked a little shaky.
Again, they had a good veto. They wanted to come here because they beat FaZe on Train. But obviously, that doesn't say that much. When we look at this match especially, it helps contextualize the fact that FaZe weren't playing that well. Because Sprout, this kind of looked like, in the worst way possible, a Fnatic playing Train. There was a lot of defaults with a lot of open duels. The amount of 3Ks that Keto got, it was very good by him, a great match by him, but my God, Sprout did not give him any resistance.
Yeah, Keto popped off in this one, and then it's what he needed to do, because I was prefacing it in the pregame, and it is the true reality of this big team. They've been stagnating, it hasn't looked too good for them, and people in Germany have been kind of talking about should they replace Keto or another player on big for Favin, and right now Keto puts his foot down. He says that we aren't going to subsidize any of your croppage, and we're going to farm you. So that's exactly what he did in this game.
He did farm them. Very nice. And we did see, of course, the 30 bomb dropped on only 24 rounds in total.
Yeah.
So that's a very impressive stat line to end our first map here. And if you guys are wondering, it is International Goth Day. That is why I have dressed like this.
Oh, that's why?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
hard to tell you sometimes.
Yeah, I know. It does get random. I was wearing a giant silk, 20 yards of crimson silk and a blonde wig for a skit that we'll be releasing in the coming days here.
You're just eccentric, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
I can't argue that. I am, in fact, eccentric. So I guess that's it, too. And you will get more goth. You promised.
I said I'm getting converted slowly,
You're getting
though.
converted.
Yeah.
The analogy you put it was that you were the freshman.
Yeah, I'm the freshman. You're clearly the senior. Launders is the junior in school, and I'm just the freshman that wants to fit in, and I want to be part of the gang. So
Yeah,
you guys are gonna show me the way.
I'm walking you.
That,
That
analogy also, I think, fits our esports careers in terms of longevity as well. So it's working out. Did you know that the longer you're in esports, the more goth you get?
That makes sense. I've seen what Thorn and Richard have become.
That's true. They've internalized the darkness of esports, Wally. All right. Well, back to the match. Let's talk a little bit about Favin, because he has been an outstanding player on this Sprout lineup. And as you said, Maui, he could be the presumptive heir to Keto's spot on big, but Keto put his foot down and said no. Didn't stop Favin from having a great map, though.
Yeah, Favin in this game showed that there is a reason that people are talking about him, that even against Big, who have the structure, who put together some really well-orchestrated rounds, Favin can pick them apart, and he showed that he had great rifle prowess, along with some opping capabilities as well. On the CT side, when he was able to secondary op, he was able to find some damage with that on top of it. But overall, Favin, he's just such a consistent force in these rounds, and he takes the right amount of initiative to find picks in the default, and in the mid-late round too, he can be also pretty scary in the clutch.
Up to like round 24 or so, Dennis and Speedy just were not putting together too many kills in general. It had like, I think, 7 or 8 each in this match, and that was kind of a problem for Sprout, but as Maui said, Favin was a consistent force, getting a lot of the right kills and stuff. And I think for the philosophy of the match, which was a very loose approach to the T side and peeking a lot of different things without, untradeable positions, Favin at least was winning a high percentage of his duels.
Yeah, fair enough. And that is a big bright spot for this Sprout roster, something that they can grow into over time as long as they can retain the player. But we do have to talk about some things that perhaps weren't going so well for Sprout, and you guys were particularly disappointed with their defaults on Train, which is interesting because you would think that's where they would be solid if this is going to be their map pick, and you guys felt that round 11 more or less kind of encapsulated was this map in a nutshell, in which the default was really just falling apart for Sprout. Do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, so as soon as we get into it, we'll just be able to see that a lot of the opening duels that Sprout take are just very unsupported, is I guess the way I would put it, and kind of untradeable on top of that. So, I mean, as soon as we can get into it, I think it started with more or less, if I'm not mistaken, an Ivy play, but there was also some kind of pressure towards ladder as well. All in all, what we're going to see is that there's a lack of utility that's trying to get Sprout into these rounds. They're taking a lot of individual duels that seems like it's more or less that these teams somehow are reading each other as if they know the tendencies of their opponents in the default, which makes sense given it's a domestic matchup, but you still would want to see a little bit more structure, I would say, from Sprout.
Yeah. It is, like you said, it's like overextension was a big problem where someone would get to actually a pretty good spot, make a lot of progress, and get outside or like sneak out to E-box or put themselves at the top of Ivy, but then there was no one there to support them. Sometimes the bomb was in a completely different location, and you could tell that they were starting to get nervous because all the CTs were waiting for them to peek off of those certain spots, but they would never go past that point, nor did they have supporting flashes or anything like that. And then a lot of the rounds fell apart for this reason exactly. If they got the opening kill, then made the outside tumble like a house of cards, great, but most of the time, Big would figure out where they were, isolate the duels, and like slowly bring back the round.
Yeah, as we take a look at round 11 here, was this the same kind of default that you guys were seeing from on the FaZe game and it was read well by Big, or is this something just an off day for Sprout?
It was a weird one. There is some weird handshake that goes on, I think, between Big and Sprout, where they probably have so much data on each other that they don't want to do some of the more structured stuff because it's more tells involved. So that's why I think the CS looks different. I think it's purposeful, but at the same time, of course, it looks a lot messier, and there's a lot more ways to lose.
Yeah, so we're going to see here how Sprout, they're making their way right now up Ivy, and I don't even think they threw a single grenade, and Speedy just jumping out of T-Con there, actually, and then we finally see that Sprout are using some utility, but it's for Slacks to push off an angle, and this is just what Launders was talking about in terms of tells. That one nade, you can see how Big reacts to it. Like, it feels like Big are just completely in control, and they actually haven't been given all too much information, just a single flash, but Keto peeks the angle perfectly and keeps his job intact.
Yeah, and the Tizian's here, and all these positions start to get red. But now in the 3v3 and the CTs are floating around, we have Searson in a very strong spot inner, and here's another untradeable kill that was supposed to turn into a lurk at 35 seconds to go inside, which could only help later in the round, but they still haven't won outside in any meaningful way. They haven't got the bomb down, and they still have every single one of these players in a completely untradeable spot. So their odds are just low at throughout the entire round, and they don't even have a way to follow up on a kill and gain further momentum. So they're doomed, I feel like, to a fate like this.
The way that I think a lot of people would describe this round, if they took the nameplates off the teams, is like kind of a Brazilian style, where they would be very just proactive in the default, everybody pushing something simultaneously. I think Luminosity actually used to do that on Nuke, not the one with Fallen, but the one with Henny. They used to just push everything at the same time, and people are like, that's Brazilian Counter-Strike. So, but that's coming from a German team, and German teams are usually known for how thorough they are in a lot of their procedures.
Definitely.
Well, we did see a nice shot there from Keto on the angle, and we also had some good shots on a deagle by Keto later on in round 18 as he did top the scoreboards for Big. This performance, you gave a lot of credit to Keto, but why was this deagle play so good?
Yeah, this is a spot where Keto's trying to fight towards T-Con, and you can see the awareness here is so good. He knows that they want to try to reclaim this map control. Neither party overextends. I think he sees potentially a shoulder and is hyper aware. And he sits in the smoke to hold this angle quite simply just to wait to see if there's some kind of reaction, and knows that if the smoke comes up, he can phase it holding that exact line. And then he actually pushes out to be a good teammate as the Ivy push comes out, running through that smoke, which, well, like, if you play CS or you learn CS from anyone, they tell you don't run through a smoke if you don't have to, but you also have to find these spots that it's actually imperative that you run through a smoke, and it's also your best chance to actually be useful in the round if you do, and that was with his teammates causing a distraction to Ivy. So Keto showed that he didn't play selfishly at all this game, and he got lots of multi-kills, and he was clearly like very, very kind of lucid in these moments that could be confusing for others.
Yeah, great patience for sure. And if you are a Sprout fan, all is not lost. We are heading into Dust 2 next, and Sprout has had some good games on Dust 2. You guys thought this was a pretty good veto overall for Sprout. After seeing that first game, have you changed your mind at all? Is this going to be a 2-0 for Big? Big obviously have done very well on Dust 2 over the last year.
Yeah, I think that it's safe to say that Big are in their comfort zone on Dust 2. But that being said, Sprout, they were trying to punish with this train pick. Didn't work out for them the way that they wanted. But Sprout now are in a zone where they can be a lot more comfortable. I'd say that Favin is one of the best B players in probably the world right now on Dust 2. So he's going to actually be able to just flex how strong he was on train. He'll be able to just lock down an entire bomb site now, which is just so invaluable for his team moving forward. And I think that Big are definitely, and still, for sure, the favorites moving into it, but I think this should be a much closer game.
Between the two of them, I think they have like 44 maps played in the last 3 months. They love Dust 2, and Big are the better team on Dust 2, no doubt, but they have just such high win rates on it. It's just so comfortable. This should just be a close match at least, even though Train was a bit disappointing for Sprout.
Well, we do have some insight from our analyst, Alan, about Sprout's previous performance on Dust 2 before we go into the map.
Facing off against FaZe in their last game at Flashpoint and over on Dust 2, despite winning the map, the Sprout guys still had some issues on the T side. And let's jump into one of these rounds to see what was going wrong for them. So as we can see, the Sprout players are grouped up towards this catwalk position, and looking at their utility, they don't have much to play with. Now, as they execute in, they're going to smoke on towards this spot here. I'm going to call this one the Vanguard smoke. And looking at the players in defense for FaZe Clan, Brokey is doing a really great job. He's playing anti-flash and he's just dodged this flash. And Twist is playing around the side of this smoke, being a real thorn in the side of the Sprout squad. And as they make their way up Catwalk, both these players find a kill apiece and make it a 5-on-3 for FaZe. And swinging out further, Sprout just don't have the flashes to play with to push back the AWP in Brokey, and they go down into a 2-on-4 where the FaZe Clan players will fairly comfortably close this one out. So can Sprout clean up some of their troublesome executes going into this game versus Big? Over to you guys on the desk.
So do you think we're going to see any more of these kind of executes from Sprout, considering how default heavy Train was for Sprout on their T side?
It was a bit weird, but I think Dust 2 is a kind of a meta where you do, your full exact long, and you could play 5 Ts on long, and then slowly work your way up. And the CTs know you're there, and they know you're there, but you can still win. And the same thing with Cat. You can, ever since they added the, back default or the opposite Cat plant spot, you can do 5 players on Cat, and it's an exec is coming, and that's part of the reason some people like Dust 2 is that they know what's going to happen. They know it's going to be a retake. They know the exact protocols, but they're just happy to take those kinds of duels. And I think it's going to welcome the executes, and it's still just about dodging flashes and stuff like that. I mean, there's going to be. It's not like Train where there's more deception involved, is what I'm trying to say. And so I expect them to still do some of those things.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that Sprout know their game plan, and they're going to throw a variety of plays from Catwalk. We might see the one that Alan just showed us there. Might see one that involves a rail smoke on top of that, even a corner smoke towards long, that intersection between CT and long. And the variety should be able to at least keep Surson at bay. And Surson right now is probably one of the reasons that I think Sprout has a chance on Dust 2, because he hasn't really actually popped off just yet at this tournament and in even the most previous map. So I think if he isn't able to hold down that car position the way that Brokey did in the clip that Alan showed, then that could be a problem. I think that Sprout could take a lot of ground away from him. And it does feel like Surson's been kind of in this zone lately where, despite being the HLTV top, I know he was in the top 15 ranked, top 9 ranked in the world last year, he's kind of fallen off, actually, and it feels like the riflers for Big have had to step up in a huge way. But on Dust 2, you need your opper to be on point to stop some of those common plays.
How much do you feel is Searson falling off that is contributing to Big success, or is it the team falling off that is affecting his ability to make some of the plays that he made last year?
That's a really tough question to answer.
Well, that's why I'm here, to ask the analyst the tough questions.
We just had more time to answer the questions, though. But I do think that, if your top 9 player, like Maui mentioned, has any kind of performance dip, you just will not be able to compete versus elite teams. That's just period. Because the other elite players are going to be able to carry or do their part. And so there is this expectation for Searson to be nailing 25 kills a game. And yeah, that can simply be a reason why you lose your maps, if you can't actually consistently do that.
Yeah, I don't know if on the T side for Surson, if they've developed enough new plays for him, because they had a couple that caught people off guard on Mirage and Dust 2 in particular. Just the general cat swing would have been nice to see it like more this year or last year, but they still keep using it. And I feel like you need to invent new stuff for Surson. So I think it's probably a little bit structure, a little bit him.
Well, all eyes will be on Searson as we head into Dust 2 with all those nice long angles to shoot from. And bringing us that action will be Bardolph and Lex. Which are your favorite goth bands of all time, Bardolph and Lex? And you can't say
The Cure.
That's a fair answer. That's a fair answer.
Disintegration is an amazing album.
I don't know any goth bands.
You don't know any?
Evanescence?
No.
I think that was a good answer.
That's fine.
Evanescence at least goes well in frag movies.
Is Slipknot a goth band?
Yeah.
Is it? Not really.
I think I'll allow the answer.
I don't know what a goth band is. Honestly, I have no idea.
There's a lot of music about feelings, you know?
I listen to.
Evanescence.
I've got some friends who listen to a lot of emo music, for example, but I'm not one of them. I listen to a lot of things, including hardcore gangster rap. It's a bit of a distance from goth music.
Hey.
I think there are guitars in goth music. That's about it. I'm not made for this life. I'm not cut out for this kind of makeup.
You don't think gangster rappers are rapping about their feelings and their struggles in life the same way that...
No, they're lying about them.
Okay. Fair enough.
Everybody's the toughest dude on the planet, but no one can. Not everybody can be. You know, there's a pecking order.
Just wake me up inside, man. Okay.
Nice work. All right then. Big will start on the T side of Dust 2. Showing some presence towards short. They're trying to bait a response from Sprout. Could see some creeping around that short position. Slacks is behind the smoke grenade. The real push coming in towards B. Farvant doing well with the USP. They're still stuck in the choke point. Rings the bell at range, but doesn't quite get the kill.
Oh,
It's a great 180 from Tabson, and it keeps it competitive, moving away with the bomb now, or threatening to.
yeah, Cressy's going to be pissed about that one. Almost just locked up and sealed the round away for Sprout. Instead, it's a 2v2. Tabson, low HP, moving up catwalk with his teammate. And he's going to take another duel, and he's going to get the better of Dennis. Speedy cleans it up, and now it's a one-on-one. Kita's going to be free to get this plant.
Impressive movement up towards short. Gave them minimal chance to respond. Keto now with the Glock. Does he play from the site itself? He's waiting. Speedy has a kit, so he'll be patient and wait for some time in case Keto tries any shenanigans. But he will have to creep with the Cayman USP. Keto just having a look every so often. He'll be aware of a potential play in the underpass, and he is rotating. Oh, God. He's not going to check a time, is he? Oh, he's just about seen it. Speedy had just half a chance there. My God, that was a tense one. That it goes the way of Big. Sprout will have to do things the hard way.
That's so painful. 2 different kills. That's really should have been going the way of Sprout. Instead, Big, a very fortunate pistol round win. And Maui was highlighting Favin over there at the B side of the map. As being one of the best in the world, playing on the CT side of it at least. Found the 2 openers, and it really seemed like Sprout was due to take this round away early, but we got blood in the water. Searson takes a tag from mid as the long play comes out from Big.
Yeah, Keto needs some support before that AK is lost. Charging around the smoke grenades, and there we go. Speedy's going to drop him, looking for a second one. He'll drop Zantares, actually, excuse me. So rifles can be collected, but we can see that one of the scouts, both of the scouts have repositioned. There are 3 smoke grenades for Big, so that's not the largest concern.
Oh, overplay there from Slacks. You got 2 damaged players. You know, you can get the information, maybe try and re-peek at some point, but just a wide swing with no results except for pain. So now it's a 2-on-4, and Sprout, you know, it's probably not gonna try and even attempt to go for this. Maybe hang on to the weapons to the next round. See if you can maybe get an exit, but you know, despite the fact that 2 of the players are, you know, well and done in terms of HP on Big. You know, 1 shots for the scouts and not much for the Deagles to make work of. You just want to play this safe, see if you can get a freebie, maybe.
Well then, this was a force buy from Sprout. Force buys are popular once again in the second rounds. Slacks has left $700 in the hole, so the AWP is on the way. But not just yet. We'll see if Favin can do something, if he holds on to this anyway. Maybe with the Kevlar he will. Hold on to the Scout. And see if he can offer something to Big in the next round. But so far so good for Big. 16-8 for Train. 2-0 start on their pick of Dust 2.
We were all kind of wondering whether or not this domestic matchup would lean one way or the other. But considering how comfortable Big look in a lot of these situations where Sprout's doing their darndest, but ultimately, you know, just getting outshot, trades are not going their way. Seems like Big maybe has already got the edge here. Of course, he already up map. Map pick was Sprout. First map was Train. Keto facing the heat over here at long, but Tabson bails him out. Finding 2. Sprout already down to 3 players, and Slacks is lit.
Good start for Big. They've got control. They can abuse the range. Yes, there is the Scout in play, but not much else, and it's not an AWP. Searson will hunt. Warming up himself with a Scout of his own. Dennis playing some shenanigans. There was a major where we saw a gimmick smoke in this position. I think Shox, I want to say Shox was using it. Maybe standing on the barrels there.
I've heard it referred to as the shock smoke, so yeah, I imagine so. Here it is.
There we go. Well, there's a variation of it. Looking on the side. So let's see how long he survives for then, Dennis. A little pre-fire in his direction, and Zantares will deal with him. The problem with the smoke is it doesn't really make sense for the smoke to exist there, so any professional will be aware that someone's probably behind it and spray it. Now, if you have a numbers advantage and like there's time pressure, then it becomes more powerful because there are so many things for a team to worry about that again you can. I want to say that you can capitalize on the anarchy, but interestingly, there was a thread made about me using the word anarchy, which I think is pretty interesting. You know, I don't bring things up from like a position of saltiness. So just very quickly, titled, "Can you please stop misusing the word anarchy?" The caster James unfortunately misused the word twice so far on Train Sprout versus Big. It's triggering me a bit. He's using it for chaos and disorder as a word, even though anarchy means without a ruler. So that guy, in short, says...
We found the one anarchist in chat, basically.
Basically, yeah. The issue is that it's being used as propaganda to undermine the legitimacy of anarchism as a way of living.
Well, good for him, man.
Yeah.
Be passionate about something.
I think it's cool because it started a conversation. So if you've got opinions on anarchy, nice opinions, you know, it's okay to disagree in a friendly fashion, then go and say hello to that chap in the Reddit threads. But for now, it is the first buy round for both squads. We see 5 scopes for Sprout, 4 Augs and the AWP in the hands of Slacks. Galil's AKs and the AWP for CSN. So he's upgraded from his scout. There's a pop flash for the mid doors in an instant. Very well-timed response from Speedy.
4 Augs for Sprout. Love to see that. 5 scoped weapons across the board. Does 2 traditional long-range fights. And this is almost definitely going to be a cat play. Maybe you see them back down into mid-B, depending on the reaction from Sprout here. But Big just biding their time. Any moment now it'll come out.
A 3-man hold of the A bomb site if you include Cressy on long. We'll see how long he stays towards long for. Considering no one's there, doesn't know that, of course. Speedy now looking to abuse these smoke grenades, but Tabson spots him first. There will be a trade, but now Slacks has got problems, and Cressy has decisions to make. He can throw one flashbang behind his teammate, which he just deployed. That will delay the push somewhat, and maybe Slacks has a chance, but where does rotation come from? Cressy still wondering about the long position. It could be a lurker, he just doesn't know. Dennis on the high ground again, the low ground rather. Flashbang is behind his teammate, but he still can't find an angle. Sissu looking down below, can't quite land the flick though. Dennis will delete. 1 versus 3 now, actually. Xantares is alone, trying to avoid the double pick, which is on the way, and that is quite a collection of dinks. Sprout survive with 3 players alive. They'll collect an AWP. We'll see if they hold on to the Augs. That was quite the battle there. Difficult position for Sprout, but they survive.
That was such a weird situation. Sprout basically fumbled the bag over there towards elbow. You saw Speedy take a duel, trying to abuse the one-way. So many players, you know, once you see that first, you know, rail smoke get deployed, the one-way maybe comes out. You know, I've seen a lot of different teams try and challenge that angle. You know, sometimes maybe you see a 2 or a 3K come out of it if you're able to support him with flashes. But he doesn't. He gets a dink out and he falls immediately. And then Slacks basically just gets isolated at a ramp. He gets taken care of in time. But it really was those Augs that, you know, we mentioned earlier on in the round that just bailed out Sprout, just basically winning gunfights across the board to claw their way back into the round, and they'll get there first.
Yeah, that was a really good test for Sprout. The flashbang certainly helped. Flashbang support very key on the A bomb site. As I like to often say, it's often the AWP by the car who's offering flashes for, say, the player in the pit and so on. But it definitely helped slow the push just enough. Thompson on the Krieg once again. We saw it on Train. With not much impact, and perhaps there'll be more on this occasion. Big, the masters of grenades. How about that for a pop flash?
The legacy of God B.
So we see that short has been taken, and Big look to make inroads towards long, which has 2 players now. So Big will offer some grenades on short to try and pull players away from long to make that weaker. We can see there were 2 now. The AWP was posted up quite well, but now the Cressy is alone in the pit. So that's worked well for Big, but they haven't won that first duel. Farvan having to reposition. Long has been held by Sprout. So they've got something for the retake here. They've got a man advantage still as well. A good effort from Big, but Sprout have got the better of them in that part. The bomb has been planted for short, though. We can see presence now in the mid position. Xantaro's got to be careful. Has to wait for this molly to go, though. Will there be any flashbangs for him? There might be. Two-man line up, and they will progress. Cressy now 1 versus 3 with the Org. Gets the first one, but he can't finish off at Xantaro's as well. Great trade fragging scenario for Big. Didn't need to trade frag in the first engagement, but Xantaro's was ready for the seconds.
Yeah, identical rounds from Big back-to-back, just cat control into an A execute. And both times, the operas from Sprout have just been absolutely neutralized, just blind throughout, just getting owned at these angles where, you know, you typically see 1, maybe 2 kills, even if you're not necessarily in a power position, maybe get flashed off the angle.
Oh!
Okay.
Oh, you love to see this one. The scout holding things down as there's a rush up top mids. And they still haven't realized this just yet. There are blind spots to be dealt with, but the AKs are here, and it will be a shooting gallery. An execution at top mid.
And
that is a fun strat.
Are getting farmed. Xantaro's with his scythe out, just making sure that nothing else sprouts. Favin just finding that first kill was so cool, but you know, this was very quickly turned around. But back to what I was saying, man, it is actually a little worrying to me that Sprout is just not able to produce with those ops. You know, if you're going to invest into 2, or I guess they maybe picked up that first one, but
I think Big have done a good job of making things as difficult as possible on the A-bomb site. Again, just trying to pull him out of position. They have been stuck, so I do wonder if this will cause Sprout to be more aggressive towards short, for example, because that has been the cause of a lot of their issues. So I do wonder if they will try to stop Big taking it. Not something they can expect to do every round, but got to mix things up here and there.
yeah, I've seen a few different teams on Dust 2 in this past week alone, using a lot of that, you know, the empty space that the T's leave when they take long, or I guess in this case, catwalk. You know, just being willing to, okay, fight on the other extremities of the map, maybe get aggressive towards long doors. But if you're going to try and neutralize the cat control itself, like that's got to be done at mid. A couple pop flashes over, some coordinated attacks from the CTs, maybe an early cat boost. You know, just in a way to disrupt really the free cat control that Big's just kind of getting for free.
2 AWPs. Let's see if there'll be a short play on this occasion. Looks like they're heading towards long. No short boost on this juncture. Oh, no, they are rotating around Sprout with 2 men. So we are going to see that short aggression having given up long. And maybe this has been read by Big, who charge into long again immediately, taps and using that range with the Krieg. So this is a must-hold now for Sprout, missing the first shot. They're lining up for Spitty, though. Manages to get 2 out of it, and Searson has to hold her. He's got the bomb. We see the charge to the bomb sites in the meantime. Running out of positions to stand Sprout on this A bomb site. They'll lose 2. Somehow Cressy alive with 9 HP. 3 versus 3. I'm sure they want to go for this. Maybe the worst possible plan has been executed by Big as far as Sprouts are concerned. Maybe a pop flash play, perhaps a boost behind the smoke. You can see Tizian hiding at the cart. Can shoot through those windows. So he has to be real careful. Searson spots the creep through the smoke. Support here from Tabson, Tizian rather. And the transfer as well, and Sprout are deleted once again.
And so Sprout attempting to hold on to some cat control in that round, and Big immediately gets the read, takes long control, and like you said, Tabson towards pit, just swinging out with full confidence that nobody's home. Finds the first with the Krieg towards a site. And then it's just a matter of wrapping things up. Sprout isolated over at Catwalk. We saw Slacks trying to fall back. Immediately gets clapped in the back of the dome. He's 1-7, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. If Sprout's offers are not able to produce at all in any of these situations, that was just off of a whiff over at Catwalk. You can't ever hit every shot, but those are the ones that count.
That is quite the timing from Speedy. Tizian is holding, though. He knows all these sound cues are heading elsewhere. How far does he go? We've got a 3-man investment from Sprout on long, where there aren't really intentions from Big. Starting to creep now. I can see on the radar, and Speedy will be deleted. Big don't really leave much opportunity for you. Trying to limit their mistakes. A lot of junk being thrown. I love the flashbangs towards long as well. So if you're holding that off angle, that's also going to be hard for you. This smoke, though, could be a problem. Xantaro's creeping around it with the bomb. He has a minute on the clock and plenty of help. The short plant being executed. Dennis looking for something. That wasn't what he was looking for. This is an eco round from Sprout. Faven still wondering if he's being contained from the outside. And the answer is yes. Tizian is top mid. From where Tizian is on the radar, by the way, you can throw a jump throw smoke into CT spawn to cover the cross for your teammates on long.
Today I learned.
Grenade trivia for you.
Favin's got to be bored, man. I mean, Big clearly understand, you know. Nice shot. Nice shots. Give me one more. NT.
Well, technically that was one more.
True. But Big is ultimately just avoiding mid doors, avoiding B entirely. And that's not without good reason. I mean, Sprout being very deliberate and telegraphed in where they're playing on the CT side. You hear the nade cues, the sound cues coming out. You have a general idea of where people could be. Of course, you can mask that. You can play behind it in alternate ways. But Big have basically been batting 1,000 in this half of just correct reads, correct responses out of it. And now, as I say that they've completely ignored B, as if they heard me just testing it just for a bit, but the smoke comes out, cancels the push. Now Tizian looks for space at mid. Speedy shuts him down.
CT side of Dust 2 can often be difficult in pro matches and in general. And it certainly looks difficult here. Sound cut from Big. So dangerous to peek this angle from a CT perspective. But putting the smoke down on the flash will certainly help, and we can see Speedy moves into a more forward position. He's got a very clean Jade Org there. Big just completely cutting noise. What do they make of this Sprout? It's a different look from Big. They're offering some space creation towards the mid position. Pop flash for Xantares as he has a look, but Speedy's still over the smoke to some degree. Hops down quietly as Xantares continues to press on. 35 seconds. This is a very nervous round from Sprout. Starting to execute now, but it's a 3 versus 5 as Xantares has dropped Keto on the low ground, swinging, trying to take the orb off guard, but there's too many angles to look, too many man on road. We may not see a bomb plant from Big in this one. All the players for Sprout survive. There are still 8 rounds to win for Sprout in this half, so while it looks terrible right now, if they win the next one and put Big on eco, things could become very interesting indeed.
Yep. Nice flawless victory to get things started for Sprout, and ultimately that just was an entire round of Big trying to be too cute. You know, maybe your initial presence towards B drew that first rotator, but as soon as they know you're not on catwalk, you're not at long, you know, you can lean that CT spawn player more towards the double doors. And despite Xantares' fantastic lurk in the CT spawn, that just did not pan out. And now we have a long battle. Already into pit is one. Speedy cleans him up. Cressy grabs the second. And so this is the first time Sprout have actually won this long duel. First time they've actually really contested it hard against multiple players. And so big react by taking catwalk and given the space that they've been allotted by Sprout. You know, they're considering it contained for now. No over rotations, not a lot of movement out of the CTs. Knowing it's a 5-on-3, they have the advantage in this frag grenade. Not quite.
This is such an important round for Sprout. This is the round where they build. Seriously in the Jame angle. Very strong spot to catch rotations in either direction. A lot of grenades being offered. They would love to have somebody cross those middle doors. Citizen still creeping now as Xantares makes his way to the site. Doesn't know what the climate is on the A-bomb side. We can see Speedy creeping. Down he goes. Citizen's position is going to be crucial now. Farvin is still on the B-bomb site, so Citizen has to be careful. Trying to find some impact, but that smoke is really causing him some problems. Just not being offered the angles he's looking for. Still alive for now. Xantares has a 3-man swing coming his way. Does Citizen really want to potentially try to clutch this entire round out? 3 more to find. He knows one's behind him. Looks like he's opting for the save, running away, and he may be chased by Farvin.
Earlier on in the round. Leg by Favin over there towards B window. So now for Sprout, grabbing that round, that's pretty big. Searson's able to save the AWP, so they may get another buy round here. But this is looking good for Sprout considering how most of this half has gone.
Yeah, this is a massive opportunity. Well, hold on a second. There's still a buy to be had here for Big.
Yeah. It's not going to be the most healthy buy, but it'll be enough. The question is, though, do you even try for it? I mean, obviously you save the AWP, so that is an incentive to make the answer there yes. You know, you do go ahead and buy, but despite that fact, you know, you're going to need to invest a lot of nades. So, yeah, they're just going to grab some deagles and get the utility they need to make this round competitive and maybe get an A execute into it. And, you know, we haven't actually seen how Sprout will like to play anti-ecos, but if they're going to be playing a standard setup and Big know this, it'd be really interesting to see what strat they decide to call here as an early mid play. Look at Searson, he's all the way down to double doors, but Keto's going to find the better of Speedy. And so a really early mid presence out of Big. We have not seen that yet in this game. And I was going to say it's going to draw some rotations, but Slacks is wise to it. Already posted on A ramp towards Cat. Missing another shot, man.
There's distraction being run for Slacks, but he finds enough of Searson to get a kill. Look at the madness of this push from Big. 2 deagles in the AWP for Xantares will continue. Cressy holding on to long again, but they've lost the bomb sites in the meantime. Double orbs to hold now. Who plants the bomb? They've both got snipers. Seems that Tizian will post up. Hold on a second. He's exposed himself to Dennis. Xantares needing 3 now. Xantares with an AWP. Well, the no-scope is a great way to start. 1 on long will be enough. Cressy with the headshot. He's ready for the 4th round from Sprout. That was a dangerous round from Big. The bomb plant is essential. There's more aggression to come from them, but that's another round in the bag for Sprout.
Yeah. Honestly, that is really, I mean, Slacks throughout this series, and I hate to highlight a negative several times now, but he just doesn't look comfortable to me, which, considering that's one of the biggest positives that I would say Sprout has been able to demonstrate in their series against FaZe the other day. You know, really standout performance from him that really turned the tide in the favor of Sprout. You know, my eyes are on him, you know, throughout this series, and as this map comes to a close, whether or not he can regain some of his comfort and confidence, because it's easy shots that he's not connecting with, and that's uncharacteristic of what I've seen out of him so far. So the continuation of the double op from Sprout, you know, chiming in a bit has been Favin throughout the game, but it's been really quiet over here towards B. Big hasn't really even been willing to test it a whole lot. We'll see whether or not this early upper B presence will yield something like that, but the bomb's already kind of unsure about where the play is going to end in this round. A very slow standard dust 2 default from Big. Taps will bring the bomb around through T-spawn back towards A, and there's actually, for the first time from Sprout, this is what I want to see. This, yes. Just okay, we have no info anywhere. Let's post an op somewhere aggressive, and this long doors situation for Big is going to get so weird so fast.
Shadow advantage. Oh, the bait works out perfectly. Or does it? 4v4 is to Big's advantage, and now how do you hold on to A and long at the same time? They have conceded position. Slacks is stuck at long with the AWP. Grenades being avoided in CT. Smoke up to create some space, and that'll also allow Slacks to focus on long. Dennis just gets deleted. Tizian has the hammer, and he's ready for another one. Burst onto Favin. How much money do Sprout want to throw into this one? Smoke has been put up, and Speedy will go around it. He's been baited into that by Tizian.
It's honestly remarkable to me that this double long setup, you know, if Slacks is able to connect on the first shot, you know, his situation becomes much more positive because he's able to fall back. Even if, you know, Speedy gets traded, or sorry, Cressy gets traded out immediately, no big deal. But Big just recognizes right away, okay, there's no operette car right now. We need to fly up catwalk and take A, and it's just, you know, off to the races for all 5 players from Big. And, you know, Sprout has been recovering a bit in the past 4 rounds to kind of get a bead on what Big wants to do. You know, not really necessarily conceding a lot of what their setups are going to be like, but right there just announcing your presence with the op. It's pretty much wraps at that point. Your teammates are all out of position at mid and B. So 8-4, a big round for Big.
Yeah. Lost a lot of weapons towards the end of that round. Speedy down to the Desert Eagle now.
A large round for Big.
Again, got to be really careful when you're close to the edge of a smoke. So let's see what they can do with 4 rifles now. Big have been allowed to set the pace, and again, of late, it hasn't been the most successful. MP9 on long. So the purpose of that Molotov is to clear any position behind the door. tabseN for now will hold the angle with the bomb in tow. I don't know if he's just saw Cressy cross. I mean, he didn't shoot, so I'm assuming not.
He doesn't seem to be aware of it.
So Cressy has an option now, because Sprout appear to think that the left side of the door is clear.
I think Keto will still hard clear this regardless, so Cressy's just got to get his move on as soon as the flash comes out. There it is, but he's full blind. Nice.
Beautiful. Slax is in trouble now. He's got to fall off, which means the A site's completely compromised. Big have short and long. Spiddy stuck in the corner, peeks out, trying to do what he can. You can see it's a desperate situation there, to trying to make something happen for the squad, and it may be safe territory for Sprout. They've got no money, they've got no position, and there are 2 more rounds to play for, so they have to give up on the current situation.
Yeah. All right, Slacks, there you go, man. Would like to see, I mean, Sprout, you know, these initial engagements either at catwalk, long doors, even from car towards elbow, just have not gotten the better end of the engagements. A lot of times you either flashed off, maybe you have to give some ground. But seeing, you know, 1 or 2 missed shots from Sprout, that is the measure, the difference in a round win and loss on here on Dust 2 when the rotations are so far and away, and it's not as though you can just simply walk into the A site and retake it from B with 3 players when there's 5 players from Big alive. So Sprout, it's the 2nd or 3rd time in this game where, you know, 1 player dies and it's already pretty much curtains for any kind of a CT side round win. 2 in a row for Big, and you still don't have much money on the side of Sprout, but you did keep those weapons into this round, so I'm sure they're going to invest something into here. Just a couple deagles. But, you know, an early 5v4 advantage has not been a luxury for Sprout in this game. Finally, Slacks delivers Xantares, who's having a hot series so far.
Ooh, how does he escape, Farben? 41 HP, and out he goes. Quick boost towards short. They've lost long. They've got to have something, especially with such limited weaponry. Got to have something to show for this. Dennis could pop out as Speedy did for a potential double peek on this occasion. Smokes, though, will change that. Farben's got no grenades to offer. Could see Dennis is lining one up, maybe to go off behind Farben when he peeks. And now Cressy's made his way up towards short of the AWP, forced away by the Molotov, though. Big will know that they haven't cleared that Gandalf position just yet. Could see the attempt from Farben now. He will delay the bomb plants at the very least. And suddenly we find ourselves in a 3-on-3. Everybody's got a rifle. Cressy still on short with the AWP, delivering, but there will be trades. And there's tabseN with the Krieg. Spiddy now in a 1 versus 2. Bomb can be planted for long. You can see that one from the platform, no problem. tabseN can peek an off angle every so often. Doesn't need to peek the main point of engagement. There he is. Spiddy went for the tap, and CSGO's here to put him out of his misery. 10 rounds on the board on the T side for Big. The score could be worse for Sprout, to be honest, on the CT side. The pistol will be very important. We'll see if they can get a 5th round on the board, though.
Yeah, 1 tabseN there, putting the Krieg to work. And this, oh my goodness, that's so fun to watch. And there was some hope in that round. I mean, I believe that was Faven preventing the bomb plant, buying some time for the rotations to come in. And that's what this team has needed throughout this entire half, is an A-side presence op that's going to find the 5v4, and here it is. You know, maybe a little...
Oops.
Betrayal at long. But a 5v4 advantage, that's nice for Sprout, and maybe it is a little too late now in the half. You're at 10-4. You know, you want to get this 5th, of course, but seems the adjustments may be coming a little too late in the game. Could mean Big cruise to a 2-0 victory over Sprout here on Dust 2, but still some work left to be done. Slacks here will be tested at Catwalk, who has got to face this run boost, and, you know, no fault of his there for missing that one. That's a tough shot to hit. You're impossible one, if you ask me. Some damage being exchanged from tabseN over there from Catwalk, and so Big have re-established catwalk control and are poised to execute if they so choose.
Yeah, they can still deploy some flashbangs towards that long position again, bring the angle away from the AWPs. They'll do it for Farven, but not for Slacks, who does deliver. 3 remaining now for Big as they head towards the B bomb site. You can see that smoke has multiple uses. Oh, they're really going to rotate towards A? Into the AWPs with the numbers game. Oh, the B peak is coming. We've got smokes all over the shop. Xantares in a 1 versus 3, 29 seconds. As he goes higher, he may be seen over that smoke, but Slacks will get that final kill to allow Sprout to have a 5th round on their CT side of Dust 2. Is there anything left in the tank? Find out after the break. Do you believe, Lex? Do you believe?
Ask me after this pistol, because Sprout hasn't won a single pistol round all day. And you know what? I guess the answer is no, James, I don't believe, but there's always a chance.
The P250 raid boss is here. His name is Dennis. No connection to the name on my AKs, as I sometimes get asked. He's looking towards B, but first there'll be a swing and a hit from Slacks. Tabson will enact revenge for his team. Big have mainly focused towards the B bomb site here. They are expecting, and I can see grenades start to rain in. Keto, got to be careful. 2-man on road to punish him because he's Xantares moving through now. There's flashbangs for the CTs as well. 2v2, Xantares starts to get low, 43 HP, but the bomb is committed to the bomb site, and so are Sprout. They're all lining up, and they've taken the pistol, Lex.
There it is, James. They did it. 10-6, Sprout on the board with a pistol round victory. Surely they don't get ecoed here, right? Nobody forces into this and takes round 2 away from Sprout, right? I don't know, I'm nervous. Mostly for my points and my predictions, but...
Who did you pick for this one?
I took Sprout.
Took Sprout.
Took the odds, figured, you know, Big, probably the stronger team, but liked what I saw out of Sprout the other day against FaZe. And honestly, their map pools are, as our analysts put it, kind of favorable towards Sprout, the way the vetoes went, so...
Domestic matchups are always interesting.
Yeah.
But, and you can find unusualness in there, but for me, I feel like the strongest players in Germany should be on Big, not Sprout.
Agreed.
In theory. so they should win by default. We'll see what they can do. Sprout now on the comeback, 4 rounds behind at present. Tizian is blind. This is good to see how good Sprout are with the anti-eco setup, anti-force buy setup. And so far, so good. A fake plant just in case. They'll take nothing for granted, Sprout. So Keto and Tabson are elsewhere. Just playing for exits. So this is a really good start. We're going to have a reasonably close score once the buy rounds come through. And this is interestingly a full force buy from Big. In many of these CT force buys we see, the sniper will have $700 to $1,000 in the bank to always have that AWP for the first buy round. Not the case here for Big.
Yeah, don't seem worried about it. You do have a little bit of a round cushion, and you know this is Dust 2. So if your scouts go to work, your Deagles can find their mark at range. Not totally and wholly unlikely that you can come around with a round win on round 2, but Sprout with a flawless 5 alive situation here in round 17 means gonna have plenty of bank moving into the next one. And it's certainly gonna be an uphill climb. Try and get yourself 16 on the board, but there's been reason to believe that at least on Sprout, when they're confident and their T-sides are rolling, you know, I think about the FaZe series the other day where, you know, they went into T-side train not really in control of that map, but strung a lot of T-side rounds together. Came out with a dub. Starts here but slacks at mid, spots the cross, doesn't see anything early. So maybe you're going to see some early tons presence. I don't know, but
it's a nuisance smoke.
Yeah.
They don't know if anybody's there or not. So if Sprout have a plan, then they may be suddenly focused on this situation. And look at their layout. They are completely reacting to that smoke of Big at the moment. But then is there another plan behind this for Big? They appear to be trying to bait Sprout into the mid position. We can see anti-flashbangs, anti-flash positions being held.
We can just wait for the nade usage out of Sprout. If they go long, you just have 5 players in a flashbang. You can swing at it all at the same time, try and get some guns out early. If they go towards B, you're over here at mid doors already with a flashbang to retake into it. This is something that I think I call a lot of times in matchmaking on Dust 2, but it's effective at every level of play.
1 minute on the clock. Keto has a flashbang, worth noting. It's starting to wonder now, Big, a number of players seen in the mid position, and Sprout's patience will pay off.
Into the meat grinder at double doors. Keto 1v5. You know, if you can get a kill or 2 here, that'd be fabulous, but Slack's doing his best to deny that.
I think Searson will have AWP, no Kevlar. Oh, he might have some Kevlar, actually. I think he has calculated it.
You can get that light armor out.
Better than I expected, which is fantastic. Well then, it begins. The real test begins. Sprout seems they're going to be continuing. Well, the money is together, I suppose. Oh, okay, no, never mind. For a second, it looked like Slacks was going to continue with the scout, which I thought probably not going to be an ideal situation. But he did upgrade for the AWP, as has Sisson bought one. Thought he wouldn't quite make it there, but their abacus is more accurate than mine. A 3-2 set up from Big, nothing untoward there. We see some meaty grenades that Xantares will be on the receiving end of. And now the true test for Sprout begins. This is the pick of Big. Got a flashbang for short. Tabson is completely blind and executed. Not much he can do about that one.
That was a freebie. I get a 5-on-4, and for counter-terrorist side on Dust 2, this is very uncomfortable, but it seems like Sprout maybe they're trying to bait some utility out, or it's just going to be a straight-up A execute. I wonder, though, as these players over here at Xbox are not in position to trade any of this, so maybe just fishing for information here at Elbow.
They're certainly fishing. Searson just stopped scoping at the wrong time, and now Tizian's got so much to do. Playing an off angle, is he ready for a multi-frag? Considering putting a grenade out there, he's actually got 2 from this. Now he's going to try and buy himself some time. Not quite the palm tree flash, but he's done some extra damage. He's actually made this competitive, but Dennis is in such a strong position that this will probably shut it down immediately. And leaves Antares 1 versus 3 to slink away. First test pass with flying colors for Sprout as they move to 9.
Yeah, not feeling the clutch here, thank you, but that could have been a little bit more dangerous. I mean, maybe you get the trade on Dennis at doors, but I mean, stuck over there at Goose, you don't really see a whole lot of multi-frags if your spacing's good and you actually flash that position off. But it was Speedy and Favin just kind of not really pushing that position together, and the hesitation from Favin cost him his life. But Sprout cleaned it up. They'll get their 9th. Torres will live. Oh man, I feel like I was about to cast a curse him. He will live. Get an AK as well. And this is shaping up to be a competitive map here, James.
It is indeed. A cold start from Big, looking for their first round. It was the 4th round for the CTs when Sprout were defending. 4 rounds have passed and Big is still on a 0 for the second half. Despite Tizian's best efforts, Sprout had too much superior position. That trade from Cressy was important as well. So let's see now, Favin on 15 kills, as is Cressy. Top of the scoreboard are both.
Yeah, Cressy's a guy who flies under the radar for me a lot in this lineup, where a lot of times we see him either in solo positions, lurk spots. So the focus usually isn't on him, but he's consistently delivering for this side of Sprout. At least in the frag count. And sometimes on the impact in rounds. But 1 AK, some pistols here for Big, and that'll be all they really invest into this round.
What is Flex up to here? Hello? That's the bomb?
Oh.
That's an AWP. Well, that's some big information, but they are on only pistols, save for Xantares, who is now out of position. So quiet from Sprout. There are 2 flashes for Big, and they're both on this A bomb site, so this could be very interesting indeed. See some junk being thrown by Tabson as he looks to creep around these smoke grenades. Again, that's the bomb spotted. We've got a low ground rotation from Xantares now. Needs to get onto the site in time. Actually jumped into the angle versus Sprout, but he's still alive. HGs will make his life a little worse though. The bomb's actually being planted now. Searson pops up. Xantares, the turret, looking for more. Some nice highlights there, but a round will go the way of Sprout.
Xantares is so scary at those headshot angles, and he knows it, right? He knows where his strengths lie. He's just waiting. His teammate makes a little bit of a distraction. That's all it takes. He's able to gain a little bit of space and almost gets a 3K lineup. Would have been devastating for Sprout. But some good layered utility usage really to prevent him from being willing to swing on that angle to begin with those flashbangs. So 5 straight for Sprout. This is a very strong half here. And, you know, considering this is Big's map pick, their T side was very effective, and you definitely can see that their game plan was a little reactive and certainly decisive when it needed to be against Sprout. But Big have not necessarily, and okay, we're going for some catwalk control here. We'll have to wait and see as this half develops. Like, what answers do they have for what Sprout is throwing at them? And that is like the one thing that I still really love about Dust 2 is you force teams to make reactions based on your own behavior, and there it is. The flash yields nothing, bears no fruit, and so this Searson push-it-upper is going to become so important if he can get one. Almost able to get the second, but Xantares will clean it up through the smoke, and now it's a 3-on-4, Big in the lead here.
I'm not sure if the bomb was spotted on the radar. I don't think he was deep enough to see it. So that's a question mark for Big. Sprout now, it's their turn to have a man disadvantage and try to turn things around, and that boost could be very strong indeed. We can see a cluster of Sprout players towards these mid doors, looking to re-smoke once again. But, oh, that molly actually, that could be the one. No, it's gone into the smoke, and that could be the curse. They are creeping over. There's some spray on the low ground from Tizian. But when does Keto come into action here? 30 seconds now, the bomb's been dropped, and Xantares will clean them all up, bleaching the floors outside B as Big take the lead once more.
Yeah, big 4-piece from Xantares to lead once more for Big, 11-10. And a solid game from him so far. Had a really strong performance on Train, delivering again here on Dust 2. And that's the first round of the half for Sprout. And it, excuse me, for Big. And it starts really on that re-aggression towards Catwalk, just kind of sniffing out where Sprout are on the map. And Searson, you know, gets traded out immediately at upper B. But Dennis just exposing himself enough for Xantares' spray to connect, and it really canceled any advantage you got out of that round. And we'll see how Sprout like to adjust here. Just kind of reacting with another standard Dust 2 default.
Like smoke. I was thinking I would do the same. Got to be careful now, Searson. Oh, the peak is coming. Oh, no. Oh, that timing is so unfortunate. Dennis played it all right until the end. Just didn't check again. A tag into Speedy. Look at the colossal damage through those mid doors. Speedy with 4 HP, and he's got to pick up the AWP because of this. There'll be a flashbang to take the peak angle as well. Doesn't fire the shots, and then there were 2. Suddenly, the momentum swing is quite violent in Big's favor. They have 500 HP, and there's 2 players left for Sprout.
I'm still reeling from that series of unfortunate events that just unfolded for Dennis. I mean, you play that really deep angle, you're really looking for exactly what Searson gave him, which is an AWPer or any player at all that's just going to creep out just far enough for you to catch an elbow or a knee coming around the corner. And unfortunately for him, the timing strike.
I think that kill changes so much.
Yeah.
If Dennis is on the better half of that. I think it dramatically changes the outcome of this round, potentially, at least. Big would have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you can fight for mid control. You get so many options by eliminating that player at upper B push. And instead, you basically, on the flip side of that, you yield so much map control and the man advantage.
Yeah, and then this damage through the smoke as well. Well, over the smoke for the first one, in fairness. Credit where it's due. And that gives Big another buy, essentially, with the loss bonus they would get if they were to lose this round. So a very great situation for him. Spiddy with a quick fish, but doesn't outstay his welcome. Sprout trying to be careful now. Calculated risk, but it seems they may reaggress.
This is actually a perfect counter call coming out from Big. Purely random, of course, but first time we've seen Sprout try and vie for some control over at long A. And the nades do come out, but immediately they get stonewalled just off the back of Big utility. And there's 4 players early on in this round towards long.
Oh my God.
Kizian's going to face them head on, just an ego challenge. Speedy will collect the trade, but Keto is here in the full bait. Oh man, does he get cleared? He does. And Searson's even there to back his teammates up, finding 2, and that's the prowess we expect out of him. The bomb is down as well. Dennis, who just went through a very traumatic round the round prior, is now in a 1v3. Xantares cleans it up. That's 21st of that game.
That was a really interesting round. Again, maybe some domestic stuff going on there. 3 rounds for Big now, starting to warm up on their CT side of Dust 2. They've put Sprouts onto Eco, so unless there is a screw up here from Big, then they should be 2 rounds away from a 2-0. Put themselves in a position to win, and they're really building money, which is also of note. Tizian and Keto are short, but the rest of them are not doing too shabby at all. Got that jump throw, car molly, and Searson will start the proceedings with a shot towards the car. You can molly that from the barrel, but of course it's an eco round, and there are no more grenades for Sprout. Some jump peeks to take an angle. There's a deep flashbang. He can peek with it. He will eat it, though. He actually doesn't have a lot of help here. He's been left completely alone, and they're closing in on his position, so maybe an error for Big. The bomb almost being left behind by accident from Sprout. Faven's going to pick it up, and that AWP has been dropped once again. There's a double peek now. Xantares moving through for yet more headshots. 22 for 14 is Xantares over towards the bomb site, causing some problems. Looking for 23. Faven just jiggling. There's a lot of bullets to run down. Tizian will steal that final frag. So indeed, Sprout not far behind Big, but Big are only 2 rounds away from the end of this series.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Searson over there at long. Misses the first shot. I guess he hits his first shot, but isn't able to grab the second. And then accidentally, you know, sometimes you peek into your own flashbang. That happens. And there's a world in which maybe Sprout's able to recover the op over at car. But when Xantares is on catwalk and he's got your number, he's certainly not going to back down from that challenge. Finds the kill on the slacks. So this is probably the most important round of the game so far for Sprout. Early mid-pressure. Flying down to Xbox is Speedy, and he's rewarded for his efforts. Keto will fall, and Searson for the 4th time in this.
Oh, run away!
Oh, just pushing up, and Slacks is able to bail out Dennis. Dennis again getting caught with a nade in his hands, and here's that gift, that potential, you know, generous.
Wait, what?
Tabs did not see him?
Is that a resolution thing? Maybe, perhaps.
I don't think so.
He must be playing on a CRT.
Maybe the player model just wasn't quite clear. Yeah, certainly a frustrating one, but that is the, you know, if everything goes wrong, then Big are suddenly in trouble. Well, that was it from start to finish. Just a few blunders give Sprout their 11th. And again, like, you just see Searson here creeping into upper B. I see Dennis whip out a flashbang, and all of the nightmares from the round prior are coming through my mind.
Double ups are out again for Big. Money running low. Again, we've got some aggression. Different look from Big, giving up long a little bit. Now, what is Tizian doing here? This is very high risk indeed. There would be flashes behind him to swing. You see so many players, but only good for one. That's not enough from Big Clan. Sent him in there alone. So many players spraying in his direction. See Xantares being proactive in the meantime. Searson still alive for now by the car, but he needs help and he needs it fast. Tabson's on the way, but he's got no flashbang. Searson with a 3rd one. Oh my God, Searson still alive at the car. Dancing with Slacks, I think. It's actually Favin who's starting to creep up, and this one's getting out of hand. What? A completely messed up spray, and Xantares is running through the flames for a 1v1. Bomb still on the floor. Flashbang to swing around the corner. Favin is by that car position. What has happened? That should have been in Big's control.
A couple of these rounds on the T side for Sprout have been so bizarre, and this I'll count among them. Double Glock kills for Favin in this round. He's got 3, and he's in a 1v1 against Xantares for his 4th.
Oh, Xantares with a beautiful grenade, but he's resetting the situation once again. And he hasn't realized that Favin's spotted this. He'd read the rotation. Xantares went to long. He rotated towards short. Now he comes from CT spawn, but he thinks Favin is still on the side. This is going to be absolutely free. Overplayed his hands, gave Favin the opportunity to rotate. That is a massive round for Sprout. They win by wipeout, putting Big on eco.
Yeah, you win the economic advantage there. And it's so weird to think, okay, you know, maybe Searson, after he grabbed 2, could have sealed this round up and delivered it for Big if he was able to connect on one or more of those shots. But beyond that, I mean, the wild thing is it's Favin up in the faces of Big, collecting 2 Glock frags onto head armor, both situations.
Xantares had an incendiary as well for the bomb site, but maybe reading Favin would drop on the side. He didn't want to play against a headshot angle, I assume, for that rotation to come through. Now that is a smoke grenade.
Yeah, Slack's in trouble now. Doesn't sense the pressure.
Yeah, that's going to econ Big to try and find some kills here, but there is protection, as we can see. Protect the VIP. There are 3 players, including the bomb carrier. So a weird round, but a fun round. This is like a matchmaking round now.
Yeah.
Push up short, and that'll be easily dealt with. So Sprout will be probably moving to 13. And Big will have a bye once again. This is getting a little spicy now. Sprout, the momentum is back.
Yeah, the second half has been wild. Considering saw 5 straight from Sprout, 4 straight from Big, 3 straight from Sprout here. I don't even know what to say. Like, a few of these situations really are just kind of random in the way that they're playing out. Some mind games perhaps going on between the teams. Another long battle maybe. Smoke comes through. Slacks connects on a Taps and a big frag from him, and he grabs the second one on a Tizian.
That was beautiful tracking from Slacks. Absolutely beautiful. It's like he's using the LG and Quake. That leaves 2 big players. Dust 2 is slipping away from them. They lose this round, they may have to play for overtime.
I appreciate your Quake reference, man.
Spiddy and T-Spawn trying to find out what might be happening. Now, if Xantares stays behind the... Oh my God. Really? Spiddy's... Oh, Dennis is still holding this angle, though, even though his teammate was just here, which is very interesting. Oh, he's strafing sideways, and Xantares is so close to the bomb, but no, that leaves k1to alone. 55 seconds, he needs a 1 versus 4. Holding on to the site, Sprout being very careful, and again, Speedy is the investigation man. And the bomb starts to rotate away.
Dude, good for Dennis. You know what? I really sensed that Xantares was going to somehow suss out that location, grab the frag.
I guess he has no reason not to look there based on what else is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So respect for the attention to detail from Sprout. k1to now wondering what may be happening here. 24 seconds and there's still no sign of anybody. They will look to contain him. Maybe he was spotted by Farven.
Yeah, considering his team is broke, you know, you do want to keep this M4 here. Oh, but if you can get some kills along the way. Speedy says no. 14 all. Tie game now on Dust 2. We're coming down to the wire, James.
Yeah, this is as thin as the wire gets, really. 14-14 and you're on eco. That's a decision to be made. Now, maybe with a spot of utility, some smoke grenades and flashes.
Look at these shots. Oh,
that first shot was beautiful. But with a bit of utility, maybe Big can put Sprout in an awkward situation. Let's start with 4 players towards the long area, Big. And this utility they've been throwing from the car, Big, has allowed Sprout to essentially take long. The molly's over from the car position. Just gives Sprout the timing to force their way through, and force their way through they will once again. Does not seem to be the strongest of holds from Big, so I do wonder what their approach will be next round.
Yeah, those weren't exactly comfortable fights from Sprout, but Favin looking so on point mechanically, able to deploy the smoke, bail himself out, and help his teammates with a few frags that are potentially blowing up their plan.
So molly for the short box, very important. Very, very important detail. You've always got to have that molly. It can be such a dangerous headshot position for a player over Desert Eagle or better, especially Xantares. But here we go, Sprout now. But 5 rounds in a row, 5 rounds on either side of the 4 we've seen from Big in this half. Find themselves at game point. The auto snipers are out for Sprout in this final round. And Big have got the scopes out, plural. The Oregon k1to will join the AWP of Searson. So 3 AWPs in the hands of Sprout. You can see Cressy playing a spawn towards long as well. He's got a gap in the smoke. Will there be flashes for this? There will be. So they've held on to long for now, Big, and I think that's a good difference for them.
What I like about the way that Big is playing this entire CT side half is so many times they've gone back to this 4 players towards long, but they're not really showing their hand. They're not. Sprout clearly has not keyed in on the fact that there's just nobody at mid through the early parts of these rounds. You know, potentially you could think about maybe exploiting that if you knew, but Big's rotations have been solid and accurate throughout, and it's just a matter of like, okay, is Sprout going to make the correct decision and walk into success on some of these situations? Seriously, creeping up here towards long doors. That's a big early kill to potentially send this into OT, James.
Oh, I'm starting to wonder if Sprout are playing not to lose rather than playing to win at this juncture. Got a T spotted now, an exchange of grenades, but that will not be in favor of Sprout, considering putting the smoke down, but that would be a waste of utility at this point. 45 seconds as they desperately start to make a play towards the B bomb site. Is there confusion? They're going back and forth. They don't seem to know what they want to do, and they're just eating grenades now. There's going to be a pop flash through, but Tabson's not quite going to make it, but Xantares will in the meantime, and he's still alive. 5 versus 3. The dream is collapsing for Sprout as they look to breach the choke point of the B bomb site. Tabson not out of the smoke just yet in the red, but he isn't dead, and he's going to get a kill onto Slack somehow. The bomb's been dropped, and now Speedy 1 versus 3. 17 seconds, collects the bomb, has no idea where k1to is. And that round was a disaster for Sprout.
Yeah, OT it is then. And that round, I mean, I like the reaction for Big. Okay, we're going to keep the op towards long, try and challenge the long doors. And really, I mean, just start to finish just a few blunders. Missed timing there at mid doors. A flash conking off the back of the head of the entry coming up mid. Stunting the timing, giving away that there's players there. And beyond that, I mean, multiple smokes coming out of mid B. Tabson's able to sit in there, phase the smoke himself, finds 2. And that was the first real sloppy round I think we've seen out of Sprout this half, which is unfortunate considering how weird some of those rounds went, where things just kind of went right for them. But now Big's going to have 10K. You don't have the luxury of coming back against an economically stunted team. So potentially maybe able to get the double ops out at an early juncture, maybe have some freedom, low risk op aggression to put yourself in an advantage again. And for Sprout, you know, they've been able to get catwalk control. Okay, they've fought for long control a few times, and Slacks, you know, off of a gracious spawn was able to get 1 or 2 kills occasionally. But it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do here in the opener of OT.
You have to wonder if that was the best opportunity for Sprout to win this game.
Yeah.
The story will speak for itself in the rounds to come. Yeah, that was. It looked like they didn't want to take too much of a risk, going for the spawns with the 3 AWPs at the beginning with more AKs on the floor. Didn't quite work out. Again, I feel like they had some success towards long in the previous rounds. Doesn't mean you should do the same thing every round, of course. But that was a mistake they won't want to repeat in terms of being afraid to lose as opposed to playing to win.
Right, and Big's adjustments have been pretty solid. I mean, they've understood, okay, the one way that's being deployed in Longhouse, you know, it's really, really difficult to challenge that angle. And even like peeking out to throw some grenades at it, that's a risk. And Slacks has punished you a few times throughout the second half with that play. And so they decide, okay, we're just going to throw this set smoke from basically elevator CT spawn, make sure you have no vision when we ultimately do peek out at long, and holding on to their utility till later on in the round. As soon as Sprout got catwalk control, the Molotovs got deployed at bricks. Time was being, you know, forced away from the side of Sprout, and they felt, okay, we need to make a play right now. It can't be catwalk. We have no long control. Let's just sprint out B. Does not work out, and that's a little concerning. Yeah, coming into OT, like, what are they going to do on this T side that can be successful? Is it going to be long again? It will be the decision to come out here.
Well, they forced Slacks off the angle. They've got the Molotov towards blue as well, which means Dennis is in trouble. The smoke will tell a story. Tizian's blind, but he makes his way into the pit. Look at the exchange of flashbangs here. We need more support flashes from Big's point of view in order to swing. Otherwise, they could lose the round on long. Tizian's been deleted. There are so many T's here. They've got to fall back. Santaro's moving to that car position. Well, this is quite the problem for Big. Sprout have had another successful take of long. They seem to just have the solution for Big's current approach. There'll be a re-aggression, but there are so many AKs waiting for this. There's smokes as well to increase the variant. We've got elevation on Big. Has it been spotted from Xantares on blue, rather? Well, how about that for a response? Tabson with 2, Xantares with 1, and long has been taken. That leaves 2 Sprout players. Got to be careful about spraying the smoke far, but he's got the bomb as well alone, with Spiddy in T spawn. How on earth they turn this one around? Well, that's one way to start. Father not knowing the climate around the rest of long. He's got some support grenades. A smoke to create some space. 38 seconds on the clock. Let's not forget, they still need to make it to a bomb site. A swing out in long. There'll be one for long itself, but doesn't quite hit the mark. 27 seconds left. Searson watching the edge of the smoke. Oh my God, the timing again!
What?
Absolutely brutal. 20 seconds now. That's the bomb spotted. Surely Molly won't go deep enough. 14 seconds, and there's essentially a crossfire here. Searson in shotgun mode. Oh my God, they could trade him! Down to the USB, the headshot! I can't believe it. This round is utterly insane.
Oh my God, this game is wild. Possibly one of the most insane Dust 2 games that I've seen in a minute, just by virtue of the way the teams are playing the map. This long battle, which has encapsulated an entire time limit in a round. You know, the decision to retake this, it's so pretty. Tabson and Searson just walking up, clearing things out, finding the kills. Even though Sprout are ready for it, they even expect it. They're playing anti-flash. They're ready for that situation to unfold, and instead, Searson just clutching it out with the USP and a 1v2 at the end, dying seconds of the round. Really want that one back if you're Sprout.
Again, we see that same combo to take long for Big. This time it's not really challenged by Sprout. The flashbang, the AWP shot. Beyond that, they're going to maybe offer something else. Looking for the short take to come from Sprout. Maybe one takes a little longer than usual, and I can see that Searson is in position on short. Tizian's been left very alone. The lack of challenge on long gives Big some confidence. They'll put players elsewhere. Not too shabby. Some damage done towards the middle doors, and Big will put a third man towards B. And now the short take comes. Speedy carrying the bomb. Molotov to force Searson away, avoiding the flashbang, but looking to stand his ground on this occasion. It won't work out for him.
Speedy has found a lot of T-side entries just off the back of his AK. But specifically onto Searson, if you're able to deal with the Opper with one pop flash and an AK shot that's just finding its mark, that's an overperformance in my eyes, at least. Speedy doing well for his team. 5v4, even Keto getting the the bad end of Speedy's AK.
Well, there's a big charge towards the B bomb site now. Tizian is doing what he can to help. He's got 2 over the smokes, and they've almost taken out Dennis as well. Tabson now trying to use the cover as best he can. Down to the 1 versus 1. Slacks is out with the flick. Look at the confidence. 16 apiece.
What a shot. Slacks waking up in the later stages of this game as well. He's at 19 and 20. Considering throughout the first 10 rounds of this game, he maybe had 3. But a lot of these players on Sprout delivering in the later stages.
Oh my God, what is that? It should have been even stronger round from Sprout. Tabson somehow finding 2 through the smoke. Now we move into the last round of the first half. The buy looking a lot weaker for Big. It has been a war of attrition, and it will prove costly in the 3rd round of overtime. Speedy makes his way out, spots somebody passing in the smoke. In the meantime, there's a lot of aggression coming through these mid doors. Citizen's able to fall back and go for another one, but a bomb's been dropped in the meantime. They've got to go back. Man advantage for Big. This round looking real fast at present. Big will abandon the bomb and take superior position elsewhere. A rifle glides into CT spawn, maybe an upgrade for one of these big players. We've got double FAMAS. It's an AWP for Tizian. That's not too shabby. Flashbang and a peek for Long. Speedy spotted, and he falls back. In the meantime, there's a push on short. While they're being entertained on Long, Big will lose position on the bomb site. Running back, scurrying back. Tabson hasn't seen them. This could be a free kill for Sprout. Is he going to check the angle properly? No. Farven lands the headshot. There's Keita now with the Desert Eagle. Needs to stay alive for the retake, though, but he presses on towards the car, and now there are more issues for Big. 3 versus 2 for Sprout. The smoke grenade is up, and Speedy can fall back and just play the numbers. Play the trade fragging situation. They know where both big players are now. Tizian taking pot shots, looking for another smoke kill. Speedy makes his way back towards the site. All 3 players together. Tizian's the only man with a defuse kit. If he dies on the way to the A bomb site, it could be GG, and this half just from that. A headshot from Zantares. They've got to speed up, though. Speed's going to peak eventually, just as he jumps up, and we got stereo frags for Sprout as they take a 1-round lead at halftime.
Wow. Nice performance there from Sprout. I say nice performance, actually. They, twice now in this game, we've seen decisive reactions out of them where they're, okay, a lot of nades are coming out towards Long. They've been playing 4 over here. Maybe they've keyed in on that at this point. And so they just start sprinting down mid to the doors. And, you know, they do get the trade on Searson, thankfully. But in their confusion of like turning around and moving in the other direction out of Long, Speedy was kind of stuck in the long doors, got hit in the back by, I think it was a flashbang from his teammate, some fumbled nades. And thankfully, the only player that was over there was, I believe it was Tizian with a deagle. But early presence from Big over here at Long. Slacks is getting tested once more, and he really struggled in this first half on CT's side for Sprout.
I think we will have a molly coming his way from the barrel, indeed. Stand on the barrel. A great spray from Zantares coming into this one angry. He wants revenge. Down goes Cressy on the site. This first round not looking great for Sprout. Bearing in mind now it's 10K at the beginning of the half. Sprout have to maybe consider saving at some point, because this will be an expensive round otherwise. Their odds are quite short at present. Oh, what a cover from Keto. Faven jumps up, and they're still going for this Sprout. They're going to lose everything. There's been 1 round. Slacks has got $3,000. Speedy will pick up the AK and leave. Well, looks like the score will be tied again.
Yep, kind of starts over there at Long with Slacks getting absolutely dominated at the position. And for Sprout, you know, a lot of the narrative that, you know, maybe I was looking for to talk about when it comes to Sprout and the way that they maybe change up their CT side came very late in the half. And that isn't exactly a standard setup that we've seen out of them. But once he gets stranded over there towards that long car, You know, if you don't have anybody that's there with utility to bail you out with a smoke grenade and some flashes to help your escape. Of course, if you're facing Xantares with a full spray on an AK in mid-range, sometimes you just get clapped up, even through some car windows.
So you will soon see the situation for Sprout. I think they threw good money after bad in that round. If they lose this round, you can see Dennis and Speedy, $150 each. Farven, $250. That's going to be a serious issue for them. Keto will hold the angle too long. And Dennis gets one for free, exactly what Sprout needed.
I wonder if his op barrel was coming through the smoke there. Dennis seemed very sure that he was. Behind that smoke, finds the kill. Great start for Sprout considering. Look at Searson at mid-doors.
Here's all the sound cues as well, which gives him the confidence to just chase after them, but he goes way too far, misses the chance of Speedy, forcing their way into the B bomb site. Well, they tried to anyway. They made it there, but that was extremely costly indeed. Risks taken standing in the smoke, and Big didn't get much of anything there. And that was, again, Sprout had to win that round in that fashion. Oh wow, he was just completely exposed unbeknownst to him. Yeah, a completely free kill. Such opportunity for Big, but Sprout will be the ones to take it. And game points again for Sprout. They had it in normal time, they have it here.
Yeah, Sprout, we haven't really seen it much in this game because Big hasn't tested B almost at all. But the one real positive is they're very proactive in their rotations, and that was Dennis and Speedy quickly making their way over to the B side of the map through mid. Searson keying in on that sound, that audio cue. Almost gets the backstab in that round, and instead, in round 36, 18-17, Sprout by 1. Big look to take cat control and set themselves up for that very potent A execute that we saw so many times in the first half. But a lot of the success that came from those executes was just by virtue of the fact that Slacks was very much struggling to connect. But he's woken up since then, so if he gets tested once more, I think things may turn out better for Sprout than they did in the half prior.
They're offering presence towards B, Big. There's no rotation, no from Sprout. In fact, they will respond with questions towards the long position and sound cues towards short. They can be heard by Cressy as he makes his way through long. There'll be a flank involved here as well. Xantares lurking in the mid position, but doesn't seem to be looking anywhere close to where Cressy is. Down goes Xantares. In the meantime, Big trying to push, and this may be the last push of Dust 2. 3 versus 5. Slacks delivering some grenades. Oh, Cressy's position. This is utterly ridiculous. 22 seconds, the flank's being dealt with, but there are 2 more flanks where that one came from. Lining up, it shoots between them. Searson now surely gets traded here. There's the first one trying to stay alive for the second, but he can't. Sprout have done it. They take the pick of Dust 2. Big's pick. Fight straight back, and they take it to Vertigo.
GG. Hell of a map from both teams, but Sprout, I think, should count themselves fortunate. That's what we love to see, Spitty.
He's pretty happy with that. That is quite the fight. So many tight rounds, narrow margins, but indeed it is Sprout who take map 2 in this domestic matchup. We're going to Vertigo. Thoughts at the desk after the break. See you back here in a few.
Well, Sprout rally in overtime to go ahead and take Dust 2, trading map picks here between the two German teams. And before we head to Vertigo, we're going to break this down here with Launders and Maui on the desk. Big came out with a huge lead at the half from a strong T side, but Sprout just came roaring back to send it into OT.
Oh, it was a crazy second half. I mean, some of these rounds were super close, and as it has been between these two teams, both on Dust 2 and on Train in some weird ways. But yeah, as expected, you know, it's a known quantity Dust 2. There's not too much innovation you can bring to it. It's mostly about these key individual timings that come out, and Sprout were consistently finding smaller and smaller edges that were just enough to help them actually win the round.
Now, who are some of your key players on Sprout for this match, Maui? Because Favin is the obvious one, but you were looking at some of the other ones and talking them up as well. Dennis, Speedy, who are you taking?
Yeah, Speedy towards the A site was really impressive, and he's usually a guy, there he is on our screen right there. He's smiling at the camera, as he should be, for a wonderful performance. 30 kills from the in-game leader of Sprout, and on top of that, he was locking down the A bomb site. He was busting out the AUG a lot of the times, and like Launder said, there's not like a lot of innovation on Dust 2 necessarily. It's about just finding a lot of individual success, especially at his position at ramp, and he was really always coming up with at least one kill there, slowing the T's down. Anytime Big were throwing an execute at him, he was throwing the right proper counter utility. He was finding kills on top of that. It's exactly what you need from an A anchor, and the fact that he's usually the bottom fragger for this team shows that Sprout had to pull out all the stops in order to take this map.
All right, let's take a look at the start of this game, though, because it looked so dominant from Big, especially as we look at round 12. It was a 4K from Keto. Keto's a player who played very well on Train and kept that performance up here on Dust 2.
Or is Tizian?
Tizian, sorry, yes.
Tizian had a pretty strong round here. So this is a spot where Searson comes for the cat wrap, and they put some pressure on Long. And he did a really good job on T-sides of understanding when he could take a big risk, which Searson used to never do this kind of thing. So this was great. And from here, the CTs cannot rotate through CT spawn once he puts his presence up top. So overall, this is why it's quite a strong round from Big. And then Tizian shows off how good he's feeling today. He keeps peeking back into cat, finding these crispy headshots. I think we even find a third kill over the corner of the smoke. And they win the round off the back of this play, but also it was initiative from Searson, which was really cool to see, because I think one of his biggest flaws as an opper coming out of last year was his inability to put up equivalent T-halves because he wasn't willing to take risks. Now he's doing that more, and it showed. And Tizian, the guy that everyone in Germany says is underrated, showing that he does have a lot of mechanical skill as well.
So Tizian is a player that was at the bottom of the team's scoreboard, but you guys have been repeatedly praising him for his impact. So what did you learn from the eye test on Tizian on Dust 2?
He was like 19 and 25, but every important round I can remember, he was getting some really good 2K spray down.
Yeah, he was willing his team into some rounds that were kind of falling apart at the seams for Big, and that's generally kind of what his role is, where he's not really prioritized as an individual in their strategies, but he's kind of there to pick up the pieces, the scraps, if you have it. And some of the strategies for Big in this game were kind of called out. I mean, the fact that we talked about him earlier, Speedy was able to stop some of those A plays. It was Tizian that got him kind of over the line at the end of it when they were winning the kind of like the 3v3s, those kinds of situations. And Tizian, on top of that, was really solid at holding down or helping in the mid to B defenses for Big. It was a common strategy called by Sprout, as it is many teams on Dust 2. And in overtime in particular, there was one round where Tizian just kind of sprayed through the smoke. They didn't actually convert the round, but he had just he showed off his supreme game sense in situations such as that.
Yeah, we do have another look at Big because they started overtime strong, but I really felt that round 31 was the essence of this game in that it was incredibly close and came down to some really clutch duels at the end.
Yeah, so this one starts with a nice playback from Big where they lost long control. They take it back with a good flash, and after that, they just kind of clean it up. It's a 4v2 at this point, and Favin and Speedy just kind of have to pick up the pieces, but this is off the back of an early pick from Sprout to gain long control to start the round.
And then we've got Favin pushing out. He gets a kill on Tabson, and I think you mentioned in the green room, it was like, oh, Favin's still alive. Maybe this round is possible.
Yeah, so there was definitely a chance for Sprout in this one. So they're going to continue to push it forward towards long. There's actually still a really solid setup from Big here where Surson and Xantarez are actually still holding this long position. And as the clock winds down, you'll see that Big, they find out exactly what is going on as Sprout are making their way towards long. A little bit of a lucky timing from Favin, but Surson is able to tuck himself into car. Still a solid crossfire and barely any time left. And I think this is where Surson makes his name.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
it was a Searson clutch at the end. So still boiling down to the 2v2, a bit of a surprise for Sprout to even really come back into that round. They didn't really give up at any point in time, though, and were kind of playing through.
yeah, I think we actually will get to relive it here. So this is a spot where it looks like, Big have this, but then Favin gets another key kill. They come up close, and I mean, this is Searson, like, where's my graffiti at? He has the op, he's stuck car. They zone him really well here, where he can't even leave or do anything tricky. He has to hit the shot, time's down to 8 seconds, he can't move, he gets dinked, and he pulls out the USP, and he just stays perfectly composed. It's insane.
Yeah, just really good round from Surson. He had a solid game here, but wasn't quite enough. And yeah, we're headed to Vertigo.
Take it off the hood. It's too much for you, Launders.
It's a little hot.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. So let's talk a little bit about Favin then, because another strong game out of this Sprout up-and-coming star here. A lot of eyes have been on him, and he had just great frag after great frag across this map, as he did on the first map of Train.
Yeah, he's super sharp and very reliable. And you said you've watched